And we are live, so hello everybody. Um, Captain here, as you all know. Um, this week I have the YouTube legend that is the Eclectic Beard. EB, just for those that live under a rock and don't know you, feel free to introduce yourself.
I'm my name's Alan. I'm the Eclectic Beard, and yeah, I kind of do this YouTube thing, kind of,
Kind of, kind of,
kind of.
yeah. You're the big channel in my little group, um and you're the reason I do this stuff in a very roundabout sort of way. Um, because you're stop doing that, prick. I mean, mate sitting off camera, fucking doing hand signals. Um, if I remembered, because your laugh, you can hear your laugh for miles off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
that's what everybody
I,
tells me.
yeah, I could hear my brother in the other room watching some idiot laughing away, and it turned out to be you. At least you've got it. So you see, you've got to see this. You've got to see this. So I started watching you, and you were doing you did some serious stuff, but a lot of comedy. So then because I subscribed to you, I saw the B&A show. Through the B&A show, then I met Jeremy, and and started torturing Emmons on a Friday night for JB Hangout, and then they eventually coaxed me up on the camera and stuff. So.
It's always we've got to coax people, or you've got to be coaxed up. People have always got to be coaxed up whenever they're
Absolutely.
always just a viewer, and then you're not. I think you're like the second or third person who started doing YouTube just from taking and being a viewer, and then coming up on somebody's stream the first time after about
Yeah.
6-7 months of being on stream, finally taking and actually doing something on the channel.
Yeah.
But it's always cool to see.
Look, I'd be honest, I still hate this. I still hate being on camera, So that's why I tend to do it now just with people that I'm comfortable with. So
Yeah.
it's weird. And like I kept saying, I'll never do this, I'll never do this. And then one night, fuck it. There might have been drink involved, but okay, I'll do it. And I come up and that's the night we started the Shut Up Blake thing. That was my fault. So but anyway, it's grand. So we'll just say hello to a few people in the chat. So, and then we'll start off with my bullshit questions. So, hi Kirsty. Kirsty she used to lose her phone charges all the time. So she just changed her name again.
Oh.
So Dave, who's got the single best avatar. I love that avatar, that flaming guitar.
I love that too.
It's fantastic. So, Alice Bartle. Mr. Edibles, how you doing? There's Angie, and Angie always has the girls with her, which is great, fantastic.
Angie.
There's the black and white Canadian. Hello, PC.
Love that dude.
Yeah, he's all right in small doses, So. Hello, Carla. Hello, Connie. Hello, Princess.
Princess Squirrel.
Yeah, I can't remember what she used to go under, but let's see. I think that might be everybody. No link. This is a one-on-one show. So it's not that sort of show. So
Lex Tex in there too.
Oh, there he is. There's the man, the myth, the legend, Lex Tex. Does leather stuff and it's like, you're not here. You're go away. No, you're all right. And there's Laz. There you go.
Laz.
Hello, Laz. So, right. So we'll start this. So, usual thing. I'm going to ask you questions. Answer what you want to answer. Be as glib as you want. Be as sarky as you want. Swear as much as you want. Me. I couldn't give two fucks about YouTube. I'm just having a bit of crack. So, there's no. I forgot to put that up. There's your wee. I don't know why I started doing that. I just do that for everybody now, but it doesn't really mean anything.
The Eclectic Beard Entertainment Network.
Yeah.
I've got so many channels. I should take and I've thought about starting something like that, but I just don't have the time for all that crap.
Yeah, well,
I love that though. I love that.
And your PC's been sick for a while, So.
Yeah. It got it didn't have a virus. It just didn't want to work. Damn it.
Yeah.
I had to get a new CPU for it.
Yeah. See, I didn't try and build mine. I went to PC specialist and just went. You just go on online. I want this, that, and the other. It gives you all the options. So if you go for this CPU, it recommends this cooling system. Blah blah blah.
Oh
They
yeah,
build it,
yeah.
test it, and then send it over. And touch wood, it hasn't broken
I've
yet.
got this massive fucking ego where it's like, all right, I've watched 3 or 4 videos on this. I can take and do it. And the first build I did, I just kind of fried the motherboard by taking and incorrectly putting it together, and then I couldn't get. So yeah, it's been trial and error for me. It's been it's been an expensive hobby to have. You're like, yeah, I
Yeah,
can do that. Yeah, I should have went to
yeah,
builders too.
yeah. I can barely wire a plug. Not you're allowed to wire plugs anymore because everything's sealed. But I'm useless to stuff like that. So I firmly believe in paying somebody else to do things. So um, it's definitely easier. Or guilt trip one of your friends into doing it for you if they're handy for stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's always handy. Now all I need to do is find some friends and see if I could do that. So right. So we'll start off. So some I've some tailored to you, and some of these are very YouTubey because I'm asking you some of the same questions I asked Spencer and Daniel and Squirrel to get a comparison because you're all reaction guys and all the rest of it. So the first one then is, what's your favorite YouTube channel?
Favorite YouTube channel. Be honest, I don't know if like outside of my own, I don't know if I have one that I'd consider a favorite. Like I've got a lot that I like to go to watch separate things for. But
Yeah,
as far as like an overall favorite channel, because I don't like the bigger channels I watch are all like gaming type channels, but they're different than like Tim the Tap Man or Doctor Disrespect. It's stuff like JLK, and he makes Daisy videos, but they're like long form movie style videos where he tells a story from the start of the wipe until the end of everything. Same
right.
thing with there's a couple Willagem and a couple others for Rust. I watch the same thing. So it's as far as an overall favorite, I don't know if I have one. But I love the community with like Embrace the Suck 21, Daniel and Spencer, and I love everybody within the little community we've kind of formed and stuff like that. But I
Yeah,
don't really have an overall favorite. I've got a lot of different stuff I like
yeah. It's
picking and
weird.
choosing from.
The way community's changed since I joined it, and maybe that's my fault. I don't know, but there's people like Micah. Micah used to be about all the time, and you don't see Micah anymore. And you know,
Micah's got his own business taking and doing real estate photography using
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
there in Texas. I believe Houston is where he's at. So
right,
he's
okay.
doing. He's got a Facebook page and everything like that for that now. So
Right. See, I think he would have been good to hang with. He seemed because the
oh
the
yeah,
collab the collab you did with him when you were talking about the British memes, the two of you.
mm-hmm.
That
Oh
that was
yeah,
funny because I remember saying at the time you should do that more, but it's
yeah.
it's
He see, it's crazy because he's one of those ones where he started and he got monetized and everything like that. Then as happens sometimes, he got uh, I think he got laid off from his job. So he
right.
tried giving YouTube and Twitch a go as his full time income and just
Yeah,
wasn't able to take and do it. So he had to once he had to go back and do a regular job. It's kind of fell by the wayside, and I understand that.
yeah. But that's the thing. I mean, you know yourself. Unless you make it proper big in this, it's hard to make it.
But
It's not impossible, but it's difficult.
unless you've got a second income,
Yeah,
that like because there's months here where I've eat like I've lobster tails and filet mignon, and there's months that it's like, all right, so I'm gonna be lucky to be able to get a video game outside of this if I want to, So you got to kind of put back where you can,
yeah.
because sometimes it's there's been this past year has been a lean year for me. Like it's between the I think since November of last year, my views dropped by like 90%.
Right. But
And
but that's YouTube strangling reaction channels, though. That's not helping.
I, yeah, that's a big part of it. Um, so yeah, Yeah, it's been like, oh,
Yeah, we'll not dwell on the negative this early in the in our chat. You know, I don't like I don't use the word interview because it's stupid. It's a chat. You know, okay, it's a chat where I ask you questions, but it's still a chat. You know, but yeah, I give this. I still there's a wee one. You did do a video on it years ago, or maybe not years ago, but a while ago. There's one called History Matters. Is my favorite. It's like we animated history shorts,
yeah, yeah,
and it's brilliant because there's a wee bit of humor in it, but they're showing you what happened, you know, and you know the English Civil War, and they'll break it up into just between certain years, and because it's too big a topic. But I love it because it's educational, but it's got that wee bit of humor, you know, and
yeah. The summarization that History Matters, and there's a couple of others that take and do like the animated
yeah,
stuff. But you're right, History Matters with the sarcasm and humor that it
yeah.
throws
Yeah, the
into it
wee
is
placards, you know, how about no and stuff like
yes,
that. You know, it's just
yeah,
it
yeah,
you
exactly.
know, and it's brilliant. I love it. I mean, I like the educational stuff, you know. So I don't watch an awful lot of YouTube now outside of the likes of that, you know. So I try and I try and support friends. I try and pop into as many videos as I can, give a like and a comment, you know. But once you meet more people, it's hard to do that all the time. You know, you
Yeah,
can't watch every video, you can't react to everything. It's um it's grand. So I'm just trying to. I'm marking. So Joey's asked a question. So don't you be looking at the chat. Don't cheat. I'll start. And we'll look at it in the end. Hello, Lep just turned up. You know.
I'll put my thing over here on private chat, so I don't see none of the comments that are taking and scrolling.
Um. Okay. So this is based on the question two is more about your reactions. And so, what's your favorite British show?
Ooh, I love Doctor Who, but I think my favorite thing I've watched thus far has been it's a real close toss up between Faulty Towers and Dairy Girls.
Right.
Faulty Towers, just the manicness of
Yes.
Basil Faulty, John Cleese, that role, the manicness that he has is just absolutely, at least there's some hysterical things. And then
Yep.
Dairy Girls and the situation, putting a comedy during the Troubles and having everything, even if you didn't live then, at least having the everyday situations,
Yep.
drama and stuff like that be relatable and in a funny way where it's not over the top.
Yeah.
Those are probably my two favorite I've reacted to.
Ironically, I didn't take the Dairy Girls. I couldn't stop. I've seen clips of it that were funny. You know, there was a bit where the Protestant and the Catholics in the one hall, and they were trying to,
Yeah,
what do you
yeah,
do
yeah.
to the other side and start there's a big blackboard full of things that they hate, they love it, like that was funny. But we've always laughed at ourselves. But Faulty Towers would be right up there for me, truth be told. All right, this young guy in work, he's 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 Northern Ireland now. He's married to an Irish girl, but he's from Africa and came via Canada and then to us. And he had never heard of Faulty Towers. And I the other day in work because I said you've got to check out Don't Mention the War, you
Oh
know.
my god, yes.
And he said, and he said, right, I will do. And I got back down in the office an hour or two later, and he went, I watched that, it was brilliant. And the two Ronnies, the Four Candles thing, and he
Oh
had
yeah,
never
yeah.
heard of them, you know. So it's yeah, some of the stuff's brilliant. It's weird. We were talking about there's a new thing. It's not new. I had never seen it called the Detectorists, and it's a real wee sweet, funny, quirky British comedy. But Mackenzie Crook wrote it. You know, the guy from The Office. He played um, Garth in the English Office, and he was in
Hmm.
Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff. And there's bits of it. So we're only just finished series one, and it's about metal detectorists. You know, and it's and
Oh, I've that's on my list of stuff to either watch or
God,
react to.
I I laughed so much. I actually sent the link to JV. I said, "Look, you and Fifi need to watch this because it's something you, as a family, you can sit and watch. There's a bit of swearing occasionally, but it's so good, and there was a couple of bits I literally just couldn't stop laughing at. I'll not ruin any of it, but it's so typically British and well written and well cast, and it's what we used to do better than anybody for a long time, and we just don't now very often. And it's just fantastic, So I don't know, so just marking more questions. But it's just literally the other night was just bored, just flicking through Netflix and just went, yeah, we'll try that. And first episode's a wee bit slow, and then it just started to get funnier and funnier. Just loved it. So, but yeah, Faulty Towers would be right up there for me. Of the modern stuff, I mean, the young ones I loved growing up, but it hasn't really stood the test of time. When you go to watch it now, it hasn't stood up.
I've got to finish that because it's such an interesting, just a concept of the way it was put together. In my opinion, it's so different. It's so different, but it's pretty good. I need to finish that. I need to finish Red Dwarf as well.
Yeah, Red Dwarf, like most of us loved Red Dwarf. It went off the rails a wee bit. Then got better. They changed the computer. They changed Holly. They made it hilly eventually, and it wasn't as good. And because the computer was almost the star of the show of it for me.
Yeah.
Him on the screen, and he was just useless. It was just, I absolutely loved that. So, but no, that's grand. I think Squirrel couldn't decide. I think he jumped around Faulty Towers and Only Fools and Horses and stuff like that. So
Only Fools and Horses is another good one. I love that one. I tell you what, and the show that every week that I've been putting on the channel, Still Game, is just top freaking notch.
Yeah,
like that show is, because it's funny because you can see pensioners that have nothing but time on their hands.
Yeah,
maybe get into some of the stuff because nothing's over the top. It's all kind of like I could possibly see something like that happening, especially as salon shop type stuff that Isa with her gossip and everything like that, and the guys just being, just regular everyday type stuff.
It's weird. I've watched some of your reactions to it as much as anything else. It's a show I never get that into. But my cousin swears bad. He's talked about it for years. Like you've got to watch this, you've got to watch this. But then again, I'm the sort, if everybody tells you you've got to watch this, or you've got to listen to that, this is the best album ever, this is the best film, I go, it's fuck you, I'm not watching it, I'm not listening to that, I'll do my own thing, So it's weird with everybody's thing. I mean, that's possibly what happened with Dairy Girls. Everybody was raving about Dairy Girls, and I'm like, but probably if I went back and give it a fair shot, I'd probably laugh at it,
Yeah.
But it's just that being sort of corralled into you have to. It's just not for me, So,
which on Still Game, King Boomer, that's one of the shows that, bro, he's like, more power to you if you can do that one. I got through a couple episodes, I couldn't do no more. I was like, well, I was like, that's one of those things that's to each their own, and everybody's got their own different tastes. Like I couldn't do gimme past like after episode 3. I was like, bro, all these jokes line up almost exactly the same as the previous episode. And there's nothing original past this. I was like, so I don't see any sense in going forward with the series.
There's so much better stuff there, and I also think, I mean, I don't want to let any secrets out, but I think you and I's a wee bit older than the likes of Daniel and Spencer, so with they seem to be more into, they love the IT crowd, which I do. The IT crowd, especially second series, became like one of the best shows ever, and it's fantastic. And so they've been doing it. They love the In-Betweeners, which I loved as well. But
that's a show I need to finish, and I need to get into the IT crowd. And everybody keeps going, you got to watch Black Books, and I'm like, all right, but it's just
everybody.
Bro, I've got like 30 box sets just around, like Butterflies and One Foot in the Grave and Reginald Perrin and The Good Life and Keeping Up with the Parents. And Keeping Up with the Parents is like 30 years worth of a damn TV show.
Oh, geez, I know. There's one I'm surprised you didn't do, because I know you were a big fan of Al Murray. Was Time, Gentlemen, Please.
I've got to find that. That's one of those. I'm glad you said something.
It's brilliant. I think they've done it without a laugh track as well. You know, it's brilliant. I have it somewhere on DVD. It's great, but there is one that the city, reminded me of earlier. I have said I recommended the PC just to watch. There's one called Spaced, and it's Simon Pegg and uh, Peter Serafinovich. I always mispronounce his name, and Nick Frost. So the two from
Oh yeah,
it, it's them two, and it's where their first big break on TV, as it were, was their show, and it's stupid. I mean, even if you just there's a bit where they have this shootout, but there's no guns. It's just they're literally just doing slow motion with the fingers, and everybody's pretending to be shot on. It's so stupid that I've seen people doing it in the middle of Trafalgar Square, and that you see if you go to YouTube, you see people reenact it. Somebody randomly just walk through the street and go, and in slow motion go to pretend to pull a gun out, and somebody will, maybe not now.
That sounds like Kids in the Hall type stuff, like that
Yeah.
Canadian shit, like the people. I squish your head.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm about to check that out.
Yeah, it's for that. Funny enough, it's on I have it there over Christmas. I'm going to end up sitting watching some of this stuff, because I don't have very much still on DVD. I get rid of loads of DVDs there a while ago to clear the shelves, and it's one I'm probably going to watch at some point soon, So, and okay then. Question 3: what has been the best experience of your life?
Ooh, best experience of my life. Probably the marriage that I'm in now to my wife. Because I'm 41 now. I've been married 2 other times. I've been in the Coast Guard, out of the Coast Guard, and I didn't even do my full term there due to being young and just absolutely stupid. Like, I'm surprised I'm still alive with the amount of pills that I did after I took and broke my hip age of 24. So it's that, and I've kept, for the longest time, I kept Jack Daniel's lights on. Like, I've had a childhood, like, it's just, life hasn't been awful, but it hasn't always been great. So, as much as I love what I've been able to accomplish here on YouTube, the marriage I'm in, my wife is just, she's a saint. She's an absolute fucking saint.
Yeah, she certainly has the patience of a saint, because we've heard you on Call of Duty and stuff, Because it's not it's sort of a race to see which one of you swears first when you're playing, and I don't think I'm being rude, but said there's some very unladylike language comes out of her at times whenever somebody doesn't do the right thing.
Oh, she'd make a sailor blush with some of the stuff she'll say.
Yeah, and I didn't want to say this, so thankfully Joey said it, but yeah, you're 41. You had an awful hard paper round, is what we'd say. But that, look, it is what it is. But yeah, yeah, marriage seems to be, well, marriage and kids tend to be for a lot of it, But I have to give the man credit. Joey broke the, he didn't go for the wife and kids thing. He went, yeah, okay, we'll take that for granted. And for him, it was the Cavs winning the title, because Cleveland have never won anything, So he was delighted to finally have something to celebrate, So, but I think wife and kids, but you're right, if it's especially your current wife. So is this your second marriage?
Third.
Okay.
Yeah. It seems like everybody in my family has been married at least 2 or 3 times. Like, I've got an aunt that's been married. She's got to go out of the state of Alabama now to get married. If she wants to get married, she's been married that many times.
Right, okay.
You can only get married 13 times in the state of Alabama. I think she's on like 17 now. So it's like, all right. God damn, they aren't underwear. Jesus.
Yeah.
You don't try them on.
I think in fairness, this one's probably going to stick, because you see well suited, and if you step out of line, she'll just kill you. She'll not divorce you. So
yeah. What I've told her before is that we go through periods where, like, we do more of the streaming services than we do like the TV. Like, the only reason why I've got YouTube TV right now is college football season. Got to see how Alabama's doing. Once college football season's over with, there goes YouTube TV till till September at least, you know.
Yeah.
But she likes to fall asleep to those murder mysteries, like the who, like the ID channel type stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
like, we got to find something else for you to fall asleep to.
Yeah. That's just research. That's
Yeah, yeah,
that's
exactly.
if I do kill him, can I get away with it?
Oh, oh
That's
yeah,
all that is.
definitely.
It's like the talking books that they want you to play whenever you fall asleep, so you can absorb the knowledge. That's all she's doing.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, you're
exactly.
gonna wake up. Sometimes she's gonna looking over you, standing with notes. Yeah, that's how to do it. So,
Oh, I
um,
need a haircut so bad. Oh my god.
no, don't. I haven't had a haircut in 3 years. Um, but it's starting to get problematic. Not only I shed so much now, I'm starting to block drains, and and I hoovered today and twice. Had to get a pair of scissors and cut the big long grey hairs off. No, the attachment at the end of it just wouldn't. It's getting to be a pain in the arse. Um, I might at some point. I always had a shaved head. I always had, I always looked like a skinhead. Because I was shaved out a number 2, and I didn't do the beard. But the beard was just to hide my chins. That's the only reason I stopped shaving. And then I just sort of quite like it now. Because I do get. I mean, it's nowhere near yours, but it's.
Well, mine, I need to actually trim this area up right here, and I'm starting to get the dead end, so I'm going to take and trim this down some so I can
Yeah.
get it back a little bit healthier.
Yeah. Although I have to say, the long hair and the beard does give me compliments much more than having a double chin and the shaved head ever did. So, although it isn't always from women, fucking some fella the other night just stopped me in the middle of the street and went, "Your beard's magnificent."
Yeah.
Okay, then.
It's funny because I've had people go, "Oh man, I like your beard," and I've done the same thing, dude. Awesome beard. Like so,
Yeah.
it's kind of like being a Jeep owner, except it's on your face instead of parked out in the parking
Yeah.
lot somewhere there. Oh, I love your Jeep.
And it tends to be married women as well, because it was out the night Laz was over. We were at a Dirty DC gig, and him and his missus left early. And I am going to repeat what I said. The last thing I said to Laz's missus, I said it was really good to meet you, but you could do better. And in fairness, he just laughs. I tell her that all the time. But just that there was the woman in front of me. She was her with her husband or whatever, but she literally, for some reason, she leaned in to speak to me. And she says, "You smell amazing," because I always have a beard oil that's mango scented, and just got so it's different. It's the weirdest thing, So it's. But why couldn't you have been single and really drunk?
Right.
I don't want to waste money on alcohol. I want them to get themselves drunk and then come over.
Hey, it's cheaper that way, and they do the work for you.
Absolutely. So, right. So this one's a little bit more lighthearted. What one item of clothing would you like to bring back into fashion?
Oh Jesus Christ! I've never been a clothing person. Like I walk around now barefoot out in the yard if it's not too damn cold. But I don't even know because I'd love to see people walking around in the parachute pants like you've seen MC Hammer. That would be hysterical.
No.
Scene number one.
The problem is
just so I could shit talk and be like, "Were you jumping out of a plane later today or something?"
No, I see parachute pants are no good for me. It's like Homer when he tried on the clown pants and it fitted him perfectly. So it's not for me.
It would be kind of cool to see the not so much the Jinko, although I remember those days, people wearing the Jinkos, but like more people wearing the chains attached to the wallets and stuff like that.
I did that for a while.
With wearing that and wearing Vans and stuff. So kind of like I would say skater, but it was more of that grungy, like anybody that grew up and was a teen during the 90s knows exactly what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. That skater, grungy, punk type vibe that, metalheads in the 90s, basically.
Yeah, the Avril Lavigne look, which was, yeah. The amount of times I watched that Avril Lavigne video just because she was on about that. And then I was in Belfast one night to watch the Australian Pink Floyd were playing the Ulster Hall. and we're standing in the bar called Auntie Annie's. This girl stands, the full on sort of Avril Lavigne look, and I didn't want to go to the gig. I was just mesmerized, you know. I think you're lovely, you know. And it was just, but yeah, fuck it, I paid for a gig, and she's not going to ride me anyway, so I might as well go and listen to the music, you know. So, but she was very pretty. But look, and I'll be honest, I asked this question because my honest answer is I want people to start wearing capes again or cloaks. You know, every time I watch something like The Lord of the Rings or Vikings or something, I'm like, where the fuck
that's
can I buy one of those? Yeah, you want to stand and turn, and you want to wrap yourself up in your cloak.
Well, I could be 100% all the time cosplaying as my magician from D&D. You know?
Yeah, that's it. No, but I don't want it to be cosplay. I want it to be stylish. I want
Oh yeah.
Not on me. I mean, I'm not stylish no matter what I wear, but you know, on normal people, it can look class, you know. And I just love that thing, you know. So it's yeah, I want a cloak. That's what I want for my birthday, you know. So I don't know if I want a hood on it or not, or just one like the gentleman used to wear, you know.
Well, see, here in the U.S., we'd have to take and be careful with anything that's got a hood on it, just because if you got a cloak and it had a hood on it, the cloak couldn't be white. That's all I know. You have motherfuckers trying to beat your ass.
Yeah, certainly during your neck of the woods, you know. Yeah. Well, I think that's a different sort of cloak, but yeah, the pointy hats thing never worked.
But the cloak gives that pointed look a lot of times because of the way they fold there at the back. I'd have to take and do like on a Django. That somebody taking just the badly cut holes, just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
Like, no, see, they don't even line up.
No, I know. Yeah, it's weird, that one, you know. So
yeah, but yeah, here you wouldn't be able to take and have. They'd have to be all hoodless. They'd have to. Otherwise, motherfuckers get the wrong idea around here.
That's the thing. If you have it, we used to see them with the class of hair, and then you have the deer stalker or something on. You know, that's the other thing. Because if you've got a good cloak, you can put a good hat on. You know, so it's an ensemble, is all I'm saying. You know, I'm not saying it's a good ensemble, but that's bring back cloaks. I'm going to start that. I'm going to hashtag that tonight. Bring back, because I normally put it bring back hanging nearly every day. I put that on Twitter, bring back hanging, and so I'm going to change it to bring back cloaks, I think, for 2024. So just to change things up a wee bit. So right, okay. Question 5: is there another content creator that you haven't worked with yet that you'd like to?
There's a couple. There's a guy that does reactions, Cliff Beats, and he does mostly music and comedy and stuff like that. But I'd like to take and do kind of like, all right, you know, let's do like a joint reaction. We'll take and react to something that, number one, you think I haven't heard or you know I haven't heard.
Yeah. And
then we can react to something that I take and watch that's definitely outside of his realm of what he would normally take and watch. There's a couple that I'd like to take and kind of work with that I don't know. Like when I when I finally make my trip over there, there's a couple content creators over there like Mr. H and Friends. I'd like to take and work with him and Beth Roars and that you got the Beasleys over there in the Jersey Islands. So there's a few that I'd like to take and work with.
Yeah, see, the collabs are good when they work. You've done a couple. The English guy, we just tried each other's. He tried American Candy.
Yeah, Rob Reacts, which
I couldn't remember.
I'm like a year behind on the last collab idea because I was supposed to be cooking a roasted or doing basically a Sunday roast. So
right, okay.
Doing a chicken with the carrots and the potatoes and Yorkshire pudding and stuff like that. And I bought the chicken and I just haven't had the time to do it.
Yeah, because the collabs work. I mentioned the Micah one. The Micah one was funny.
Yeah,
you know, it was brilliant doing the British memes. You know, and I know he's gone now. Have you done anything with Squirrel? You ever do anything with Squirrel?
No, me and him need to. I'd love to take him to a collab with Squirrel because goddamn, that's. But again, his schedule and everything like that. Like last time we took and got together to think of to talk about collabing, we just sat and shot the shit the whole goddamn time.
Yeah.
So our collab sessions is kind of like me and Daniel. Sometimes we'll take and go to his war room, and a lot of times it's just shooting the shit. And me and him collab a lot off of, because he's got the Mid Journey that he does a lot of the artwork stuff for his
Right. Okay.
merch and everything. So me and him taking toss ideas and show and tell and stuff like that. So a lot of the collab stuff that I have done has kind of been behind the scenes and stuff like that. So
Oh, fair play. It's just because
that and like talking with Chatio and everything like that and giving advice, like collabing that way.
I just think, I mean, you and Squirrel, I think, on screen. It's not very often that you and Squirrel and I would all be in the same panel. It's always funny when we are, and
Oh yeah.
I think it's definitely something to do, because we joked for a while, really wanted Squirrel and Blake to do a roast, not a Sunday roast or a spit roast, but actually just a
roast
comedy
each other. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be funny, So, but it never quite happened, and maybe somebody could moderate it as well, would be the good thing, But
Oh yeah.
But
that would be pretty interesting.
yeah, it's getting multiple people together at the same times. Your time zones, you've work, you've got family. It's hard. It's hard to get all that, So it's part of the reason I do this so late, because I'm doing this because most of my YouTube friends are now across the pond. You know what I mean? And there's no point me going on at 7 o'clock here, and there's nobody watching. But yeah,
Shit, 7 o'clock there would have been 2 o'clock here today. Like that'd have been right around the time everybody could have been watching from your side of the pond. But
yeah, what time is it?
We've got Joey and it. Yeah, they're all at work and shit like that. It's the time zone thing is a motherfucker. I will say that it is a motherfucker.
Yeah, although it is difficult at times, because I know Sam's like 10. She's up in Alaska, so about 10 hours difference between her and and us here, but you said with Joey work. Joey doesn't work. Joey goes into the office and sits on YouTube all day. He works for the fucking government, and he'll tell you that himself.
Well, I mean, I forget he does work for the government. So that's not saying much, but
no, I know it's
Well, he's getting paid for it, so I'll allow it that he can call it.
Yeah, well, we'll call it work. And in fairness, it's the 8 hours a day. He's not allowed to get high, so that's probably good for him to.
Well, that's work in and of itself, probably.
Yeah. So, and I think Joey's waiting for Ohio to get that legalization across. I think he's just going to go full time making cookies for people. So.
Yeah, I need to take and get it. I admit I'd wanted to order something last month, and again, it's been one of those years for me. Or it's been a year for me. So at some point in time in the next month or so, I'm gonna be ordering some long distance cookies from them.
Yeah, fair play. So, right, question 6 then. Who's the best comedian of all time?
See, now, for me, any question of all time for any, like, how do you quantify that? Because you've got like everything I've watched from like Billy Connolly, absolutely hysterical. Same thing with like Dave Allen, but over here you've got like Dave Chappelle, you've got Eddie Murphy, you've got Bill Burr, you've got George Carlin, you've got Richard Pryor. Martin Lawrence back in the 90s was an absolute, he was hysterical. Patrice O'Neill. Like there's so many great comedians that have. Rodney Carrington, one of my favorite comedians of all time. And he's one of those cowboy country comedians, but he's not the vein of like Jeff Foxworthy because he's a lot more raunchy. But Jeff Foxworthy, Bill Engvall, Ron, like there's so many. Just I don't know how I would quantify the best of all time.
See,
holy crap!
I didn't realize how much stand-up was an American thing. I mean, the Brits are catching up. You know what I mean? Jimmy Carr and people like that. Just
Yeah.
And he,
And Jimmy Carr's another one that's hilarious. I've got a collection of Lee Evans that I plan on taking and watching and reacting to, and I can't put it up on YouTube because I can't even put that shit on Daily Motion like I've done with some other stuff, because Daily Motion, Lee Evans is like, nope, take it off of there. So I'm
weird that I'm not a massive I love comedy, but I'm not a massive stand-up guy. And one of my favorite comedians when he's on panels and stuff is Bill Bailey, but I'm not keen when he's on stage.
Yeah.
You know, I actually had a chance to say, well, was it Sonosphere 2011? He was one of the headliners, but I turned up for 5-10 minutes, went, okay, I've seen him, and walked off. It's not my cup of tea.
But see, y'all's panel stuff is absolutely, like the guy that died, Sean
Locke.
Yes, he was so funny.
Absolutely.
But to me, I could even take stuff back to like Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin, like their Colgate Comedy Hour.
Yeah.
That's I had at some point, I've still got it somewhere, their Colgate Comedy Hour, the entirety of it, and stuff like that, or Bing Crosby, and or not Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, and like just so for me, it's kind of like it's a little bit different than if you were to ask who's the best basketball player of all time. Well, that's Michael Jordan. Yeah. But then again, that's still the quantification of, well, what are the metrics. For me, it's so hard because there's so many good ones, and I'm all the time running into people that are introduced to me through my comments and stuff like that. That Tim Vine, his one-liners, absolutely, he is so funny. He's so good too. Like Mitch Hedberg died way too young.
I only saw Mitch Hedberg today for the first time. Somebody said, "Look, watch this," and he was super funny. And I didn't even know the guy was dead.
Yeah, he is. And there's another one, Greg, and I cannot remember his name, but he was. He was on. He did some of the roast. Greg Giraldo, and he's another one that died way too young. But he did a lot of the roast stuff on Comedy Central back in the day. But he was a stand-up, and his stand-up is a lot more of the. He had some of the lowbrow, but it's a little bit more high IQ, higher intellect type stuff that he would take and bring across. Because if you weren't paying attention, you're going to miss the punchline or what he's taking to get across, and the way he says it is just. So yeah, for me that's kind of hard.
Bill Hicks would be right up there for a lot of us as well. He died way too young. His bit about the advertising campaign for Coke was just genius,
Yeah.
And he was just.
I said all those, and I didn't even take and say Robin Williams. Like that's. So
I actually think he was a great actor. Some of the acting he did, I never liked him in stand-up. I don't like that. Lee Evans is too over the top for me. He's too chaotic,
It's called cocaine.
Yeah. That blow job. Like Robin Williams.
Sit down, shut up.
Okay.
Sorry. No, it's just like I said. I'm being audited. The fucking civil service here audited me to make sure I do this right. So, no, it's just. But a lot of those ones you named, I don't know a lot of them. So it's hard. It's hard for me to say. There's guys here that were. I mean, one of the current ones, Sarah Milligan, I think is right up there with the funniest in the business at the minute. Love her to bits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I need to look at more of her stuff because I've reacted to one thing by her, and I've been told numerous times you need to look at more of her. And same thing with Jim Jeffries, and I can't remember the other guy's name at the moment, but there's just so many like really that if you want to talk about like top tier type stuff, like you'd have to throw in like Billy Connolly, Dave Allen. For me, it'd be like Eddie Murphy back in the '80s and Richard Pryor, and
Yeah, but Dave Allen's up there for me, but it's probably as much. I mean, his storytelling is. I don't think anybody's ever bettered his storytelling. Him sitting with a glass of whiskey, just telling stories. The Garden of Eden when he's talking about when he's laughing when he tells when he tells Eve not to do something. He goes, "It's a woman." He's telling a woman not to do something, and he's just so good at it, and it's just brilliant, But for me, I've said this before. it just takes me right back to sitting in the living room of my first house with my dad sitting watching TV. He loved, Dave Allen, and it just literally was on. You was sit down, shut up. You almost weren't even allowed to laugh in case you missed something. And it's just
I see.
fantastic.
It was like that for me with Jeopardy here growing up.
Yeah.
So
I suppose because when I was growing up, we had one TV. It was a rented TV, and when I was young, you had only 3 stations, and I was the remote control because I was the youngest child. It was right, go and change the station. No, not that one. Change it back. Turn the volume up and down. It's
and the TV that you wouldn't be able to steal out the house because the goddamn thing was 400 fucking pounds.
Look, the first thing I ever bought myself, that was stupidly extravagant when I started working and stuff, was a big screen TV. The problem is it was so heavy, it took 2 of us to lift it up the stairs, and we had to stop twice. It was just so heavy. It was, and then the guy from the place helped carry it in. He could squash against the wall and all. Now the thing lasted for about 15 years, but it was a 50-inch TV, which at that point was £2,000, which was what, $2,500. Now you could buy a TV twice as big for about a third of the price, and certainly about a quarter of the weight.
Yeah,
it was about 4 feet deep and all the rest of it. It was nuts. See, kids don't know they're living. I'm telling you. Right. So
I used to play Nintendo on a small little 20-inch black and white with just the knobs for the volume, for the channels, and then you had that third knob that was underneath to kind of tune everything the channel in.
Yeah.
If it was fuzzy.
Yeah. Absolutely. But then again, yeah, I remember we used to get the kids used to get we had a black and white portable in the kitchen. So if we wanted to watch something that mom and dad weren't watching, it was right. You fuck off to the kitchen, go in there, and it was the old dial one, and the aerial on the top of it. And it was it was mental, So, but yeah, as I think happier days. Truth be told, like it's too much for kids these days. But sure, but we'll get to that one later, So, right, so this is the most serious question that I ask in the whole thing. So, are aliens real? And if so, have they visited us?
I mean, which aliens are we talking about? Are we talking about the green ones that come from the sky, or I'm an American, so we talking about the ones that take across the border?
No, we're not. No, we're not touching that one. The FBI are much more likely to rob your door than mine, in fairness. So, but I suppose if we're talking about aliens, it'll be the CIA rob your door, So,
to be honest with you, I if they're real, I'm not surprised, and if they visit us, why? Seriously, I think they are. I mean, there's just too many sightings for and it's not just rednecks that they can do, sight. Oh, there's flags, and not just rednecks. It's people all over the world. So, I definitely think so. But I also think you take a look back at carvings and stuff like that, and some of the writings that have been found from thousands of years ago, and there's entities that are talked about that cannot be explained, but aren't talking about anything that's on Earth, and it's not mythical or anything like that.
I don't care.
So I'm gonna say yeah, and on both accounts, but why? Are we an experiment?
No. I think they're real. I think the probability that we're on our own is, it's ridiculous. There's so many planets out there.
Yeah,
I'm not convinced they've been here, and there seems to be a weird, the number of sightings went down when 2 major things happened. Cell phones got invented, so all of a sudden, when people could record stuff in on a phone, the sightings stopped, and then all the rednecks and hillbillies switched from meth to fentanyl. So I think maybe meth is something,
Yeah, all the rednecks switch from meth to fentanyl. That's hilarious.
So,
Well, the area I live in is called Methadonia, so they haven't found the fentanyl around here yet, thank God. But
no,
yeah,
no. It's see that's a weird thing. I watched the thing the other day. They were talking about some woman in LA. She had a squirrel going nuts in her garden, and she phoned animal control and says, "I think I'm worried about it having rabies." And the animal control says, "Well, not coming out. Why not? It's got rabies." Says it's not. It's stoned. Says, "What do you mean?" Says, "Well, there's so much fentanyl in the drugs. People are testing it and flushing it down the toilet and stuff, and there's so much drugs in the water system now in LA that the squirrels and all are all running about stoned all day. You know, just
I mean
fucked up.
that's
You know,
I would say that is that is insane, and I would say it's surprising that it's that crazy. But looking at the state of California and the actual state that it's in right now, it's just I'm not really surprised that that's the case because I mean just look at San Francisco by itself and it they've basically decriminalized crime in a lot of in not only LA but also San Francisco. So drug
yeah.
usage, go on, you know.
Like I just feel like
Crazy.
I'm 100% pro drugs. If you're an adult, do what the fuck you want, as long as you're not affecting other people.
Exactly.
If you want to sit at home and take a load of mushrooms and jack off the fucking dwarf porn, that's your prerogative.
Yep.
As long as you're not gonna get behind the wheel of a car, you're not gonna stealing stuff and all the rest of it. So it's each to their own. So
Well,
um,
what's sad here is like L.A. and San Francisco and Portland. They've all decriminalized drugs, and they've got these usage stations and stuff like that for people to do it safer. They're like, oh yeah, we want to go to a Portugal model of. I'm like, well then stop incarcerating those that still do it. Stop incarcerating and don't. It's it's decriminalized there, but the way they do it is they have rehabilitation. They put money from incarceration to rehabilitation, and that's the reason why they've got such a low reincarceration rate. That's the reason
yeah,
why so many people, so many fewer people are actually hooked on stuff because if they were hooked on it, well, more than likely they probably got checked into a treatment program, and now they're an addict, but they're clean off of it, and it's because of the way that everything's set up there.
yeah. Because I mean, I've been to Amsterdam many times, maybe 20 plus times, and we didn't see a big drug problem. I mean, but they're just more sensible about it. It's not a taboo for them to do weed and all the rest of it. If you're in a nightclub and they give you free testing kits, so if somebody sells you ecstasy or whatever, you can test it so you're not going to get poisoned and killed and stuff like that. And then they have the proper programs to get actual hardcore users back. But they do it, they do it in steps. They put people in almost like halfway home, and they have to hit a certain target before they can move on to the next one. And then they'll promise them a job once to do certain steps. It's
Well, see, and that's one of the things here that really we need something like that here for people that are addicted because here that if you're addicted or if you get convicted while you're an addict, you're sent to you're incarcerated where all you learn is how to make harder stuff.
yeah.
So and when if you come out, your job prospects are next to nothing. Nobody hires anybody that's had addiction problems and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I will say about the company my wife does work for is the fact that they're a second chance company. So there's a lot of folks that have been either incarcerated or have failed drug tests and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that
See,
work out there.
it's weird as hardcore as I am on Law and Order. I mean, I don't think we hang enough people. I don't think we lock enough people up. I think we let people away with small crimes way too easily, and it's baby steps towards chaos. I also the flip side. I think once you've done your time, I think you're entitled to be rehabilitated. You're entitled. You did your crime. You've done your time. You should be allowed. You have a clean slate. Get back into society and be productive. And I think
Yeah.
that's something that we do wrong. Absolutely. And it's I think that's part of the problem as well. We aren't reintegrating people, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, and let's face it, prison a lot of time this is just university for criminals. You know, they're getting
Oh
in
yeah.
and it's a soft touch, and they're just learning new skills and meeting new
New
contacts
contacts.
to
Yep.
remember right. You know, so it's a double edged sword, that one, but it's
See,
definitely
and I don't know if I don't know if the poverty level there I don't think it's probably near as bad as some of the places we have here. Because that's another thing that contributes so much to a lot of the problems that we see here is places like Detroit where you had the car manufacturing where basically it's packed up left town, or you've got like coal towns in West Virginia and Pennsylvania and stuff like that where the mines just shut down, or places that relied on the steel mills, and all of that stuff shut down. So now a lot of those the folks are living in poverty now. There's
I know,
nothing
but
there, and people have left. And a lot of times in poverty, people do turn to crime to take and try to get either a fix or try to take and actually get what they need to take and get by, which
uh,
doesn't excuse it, but
no,
it's
'cause, see, we went through all that. The Harlow Shipyard was a massive employer here, and we're only a wee small country, and it was one of our biggest employers in the whole of Northern Ireland, and
mhm.
it just paid off tens of thousands of people. And then we had the troubles, and that affected everything in our economy. And I grew up in a shithole. We were poor. We didn't have a car. We rented a TV. It's we wore hand-me-down clothes. We didn't have a telephone. All that there. And I never once ever complained about my childhood. I had a good childhood. My parents made sure I had everything I needed. But I didn't turn to crime because my dad went, if you bring the police here, I'll kill you. And he wasn't joking,
Well, see,
So,
and that's another one of the issues here is there's so many single family homes
yeah.
with one or the other parent not being involved in the children's life. So again, it's not an excuse whatsoever, but it's just a reality of in poverty stricken areas, you're going to have higher crime,
Yeah, I mean,
especially without job availability. That's one of the things that some of those places don't have is, which you can't say that for places like fucking LA and San Francisco. There's jobs all over the place. It's just the
yeah.
cost of living's through the roof.
I mean, I do know in a lot of down in LA, there's a lot of the you're supposed to say unhoused these days, but whatever. A lot of them don't want housed.
Oh
It's
yeah, no,
all
you're right about
programmed
that.
to have it so easy now, and it's because the weather's good. Probably 360 days of the year. They might get one storm, but the rest of it's sunny and it's warm and it's dry and it's all the rest of it. And a lot of them just don't want to get off the streets. It's just and it's and to be brutally honest, anybody that voluntarily gets fucked up on the drugs, I've no sympathy for. Somebody that gets medically addicted, I'm completely sympathetic to. But somebody just said one day, "Well, fuck it, I'm bored. I'm going to start snorting, whatever,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
noxing you."
No, I agree with you on that. I mean, there's a difference between doing, smoking weed
Ah,
and taking and snorting cocaine,
yeah,
or
or
taking
oxy,
and lighting up a fucking, crack rock or something
yeah,
of that nature. Massive
oxy.
difference.
I mean, oxy. That's a sort of watched some of the not documentaries, sorry, docudramas. I think they call them, like a dope sick and stuff like that, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
so it's talking about the real stuff at the same time and at the start of it, and so I've nothing but sympathy for those that are the medical trade or whatever you want to call it got them hooked because it just meant they sold more. But it's the guys that just wanted them and sat in the car, crushed it up and snorted because they thought it would give them a high. Them, yeah, if they want to take themselves out of society, have at it. But somebody that broke a hip and ended, got on it and struggled, those guys, nothing but sympathy for them, So, um, but
Yeah, that
how did we
was.
end up talking about this one? Was questions about aliens?
I don't know. That went off the rails
No,
quick.
I
That's
have
my
to
fault,
say,
probably.
yeah, there was somebody that said to me this morning, this could be the longest one ever because it's EP and he likes to talk and I like to talk, And I went, no, a lot be, So, um, okay, question 8 then. Back to YouTube then. what on YouTube disappoints you the most?
The lack of guidelines sometimes, man. That and the lack of like actually enforcing rules across the board. Like it'll. I've had stuff that's gotten a strike that other people stuff still up on their channel,
Yeah,
and I know other people that have went through the same thing as well. So it's like it's great for giving everybody a platform and a voice. And to be honest with you, I mean, I get it. I do stuff that's I've got to take and dance around the whole copyright thing. That's the reason why
yeah.
so many people stop pausing the video. Well, then start your own fucking channel. You know what I'm saying? You know, fuck
No,
off. You know, I do it because that way it transforms and everything like that. So I've got to take and, you know, dance around the whole copyright thing. But at the same point in time, you know, there's people that was it Corey Kenshin. He's one of the he's got 3 or 4 million subscribers. But he took and actually was playing a video game, and his stuff was set to adult audiences only, which basically that right there wipes out whatever you're going to take and you could make
Okay.
for, you know, your monetization. Whereas there's other YouTubers, Markiplier and a couple others, or not a couple, a lot of others, also millions of subscribers.
Yeah.
Played the same game, same part, no problems, no restrictions on it. So their lack of enforcement. That and also if you don't toe a certain line, like if you take and have unpopular ideas, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff I don't agree with, but I don't think people should be deplatformed unless you're trying to incite violence. It should be Katie bar the door. You have a voice. People should do the research on their own for stuff to take and know whether or not you're full of shit, and then, you know, make their mind up, like, you know, that way. But this taking and only being able to take and it's stupid. It's entirely
The inconsistencies is a nightmare because I mean I've seen, you know, if I watch you react to one thing, all of a sudden everybody's stuff pops up. You know, they did still give. But then sometimes you'll see watching yours, and you've had to be careful. Daniel and that started to put this is copyright over the, you know, this is for copyright reasons and all. But other guys seem to be able to just put the thing on and they don't have an issue.
Yeah.
That I always find that really weird. But and certainly the application of the rules, you know, there's certain political YouTube channels that can say almost anything they want, but other ones just constantly get strikes. And, you know, and I mentioned, I was explaining to, you know, somebody earlier, he hadn't heard of Rumble, and I said, look, Rumble will grow bigger and bigger because the guy Chris Pavlovsky, the owner of Rumble, he's an absolute, you know, absolutist on free speech. There's people on his channel he doesn't like. He doesn't like their political leanings. He doesn't like what they're saying. But as long as they're not calling for actual violence,
yeah,
they're welcome on his channel. And
it's the reason why Steven Crowder and what's his name, Alex Jones, I think, is over there now. Which
Alex Jones,
I'm surprised that son of a gun still taking and wants to take and use his voice for anything after the kerfuffle with the Covington and, you know, all of that stuff. But
Sandy Hook with him,
Sandy Hook, and just like that was kind of idiotic, to be honest with you. But
he fucked up, and I think the worst of it is, even when he admitted he was wrong, they still wanted to deplatform him because the scary thing is the man. I don't like him. I think he's a dick. He's too loud. He's too. But there's one of the guys they joke about. Instead of having a swear jar, they have an Alex Jones was right jar because he's
and the
right.
Alex Jones is right jar is probably filled to the brim.
Yeah, because he's right about lots of stuff.
Oh yeah,
you know. But it's the way he carries himself, the way he talks, and all. You know, it's just not for me. I'm not a fan. Although
he's over the top, fanciful, and bombastic. So the message, the way you're presenting the message, can lose whatever listeners. That happened to a lot of folks that took and run across him. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not my cup of tea, but I think he should be allowed to say, as long as he's not. I mean, he said he was wrong in saying what he said, But to sue him for 1.4 billion or whatever it is, that's ridiculous. That's just trying to put him out of business forever. He's never going to pay that back. That's just right, get him off there. And the problem is it in itself became political, but he should be allowed on here to say, and if you think he's a dick, people should come on and go, you're a dick, and people should just go, don't listen to him, he's a fool.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what should happen. You don't, you know, it's
I don't know how it is. You know, that's one of the things too. Like Tucker Carlson, like after he got fired from Fox, he started a YouTube channel, and like in 2 days, it was taken down.
Yeah.
It was like, and it's like, dude, I'm sorry, I don't care what your feelings are on Tucker Carlson, whether you agree with his politics or not. Why take him down? You know what I'm saying? Russell Brand, they've tried to get Russell Brand taken down due to the allegations that have popped up, stuff like that. Even if those allegations are proven correct, keep him up. He's using he's using his speech.
See, there's another one. Like, I don't like him. I've never liked the guy. I'd never made him an actor. I never thought he was funny. He uses 100 words where 5 should be enough. He's just that sort of guy.
He's pandering to a certain.
Yeah, but it is noticeable that there was no allegations about sexual impropriety until all of a sudden he started questioning things, and then I said, "Oh, wait a minute, it's weird." And again, he should be entitled to talk. I don't listen to him because he's a bell end. I've no interest in him. But he should be allowed to speak. And what worries me, we have no guarantee of free speech over here. America is the only place in the world that has a written constitution that is supposed to guarantee free speech.
I was going to say that's one of the things over there that I've read about. There's a couple of cases where, like, a girl took and posted lyrics. One of her best friends that took and I think either got killed or committed suicide. On his birthday, posted lyrics from his favorite song.
Yeah,
and due to some of the words that were in there, she actually had to take and pay a fine. She got put under. She had to do community services. I'm like, dude, that's no.
Yeah, it's nonsense, but it's going to get worse over here. I don't know if it'll ever get better, but that's why if you guys cave, the rest of us are fucked, So,
well, they're doing their best to make sure that you toe a certain line here that I don't identify with the left and I don't identify with the right. I like stuff from both sides because I think being too far on one side or too far on another side, on either side, number one, you're going to take and put yourself in an echo chamber. So there's stuff from both sides of the aisle that I like. There's no two ways about it. The people that are on the right-hand side of the aisle right now, they're getting fucked.
Yeah.
Like that, if you've got any kind of idea that seems to be conservative over here, give it time. Your head's gonna be called for it. It's the wildest thing to see.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just it doesn't bode well. It just doesn't. But so my take is slightly different. I don't disagree with anything you've said, but my biggest disappointment with YouTube is I hate the algorithm. It's way too sensitive. If you're sitting, like a lot of people sitting on the toilet thumbing through YouTube Shorts, if you accidentally watch the wrong thing, you get the same type of video popping up for 2 weeks. I hate that. I did it. I don't want to name him in case he turns up, but the wee idiot that you do the show with had me one night look up this fucking talentless cunt called Brit Barbie. He says, you've got to see it. It's 20 million views, and all this here. And I looked it up once and we laughed at it. It took me weeks to get that out of my timeline. And I was popping up and I'm like, fuck off. And anything even remotely like her was popping up. I'm like, and I actually think it's prohibitive because I like, I'll have a look at that and see. Okay, didn't like it.
Yeah.
But now I don't want to try anything new because I don't want to spend weeks getting tortured by that stuff in my feed.
If I'm not mistaken, you can take and click on the little 3 dots.
Oh, I do that if it's stuff I
don't recommend channel.
Yeah, there's a few of them you can do that way, but to be honest, sometimes you forget. I'm old and I'm stupid. I'm not. So I don't always think of stuff like that. So um, okay. Question 9: Who is your hero and why?
I'll be honest. I don't know if I really don't have anyone I'd point to as a hero.
Okay.
I I, I love my mom, and I love her dearly, but like there's just there's been things throughout my life that, especially once I've gotten older and seen, like, wow, that was kind of that. Holy shit, that was fucked up. And
Yeah.
my stepdad, I love him to death, and still, same thing. My dad, I wasn't given opportunity a lot of times, thanks to my mom and my granddaddy, to really, until I hit 18 and got out the house, to get to know him with any kind of clarity and stuff like that. So I don't have anybody I would take and point to as a hero. I've got people I look up to. Like my dad was one. I do look up to my stepdad, and I do look up to, like, I looked up to my wife's dad and stuff like that. As far as a hero, I really don't have anybody I would take and qualify for that.
No, it's not an easy question. It's a weird one because I don't idolize people. I could name you a couple of sporting heroes. Kenny Dalglish, playing for
Yeah,
Liverpool when I was a kid. Arguably, not arguably, he was Liverpool's best ever player. And I actually think if he'd have been English or Brazilian or whatever rather than Scottish, he would have been hailed as one of the best ever. But outside of that, I don't get hooked up in the celebrities, and things like that. I never got the way people idolize stuff. I remember being online one night with the boys and Charlie and I was there when Betty White died, and they were all, oh, it's really sad. And I'm like, why? Yeah, she was on TV.
yeah.
I know, but she meant a lot. Like, why? Unless she's helping you with your mortgage, or unless you're phoning her going, look, I'm feeling a bit down today. What's wrong? It's just, and this, it's, yeah, they were on TV. I watched them when I was a kid, but it's just, I never got it. Just that idolizing people, it's just the weirdest thing. For me anyway. So
Yeah.
right, we'll skip on to a proper serious one. So I ask everybody this, and so does God exist, and does He love you?
Funny, I took and grew up in church. I was there every time the doors were open, legit, like independent Baptist church. So I do believe God exists, and yes, I do believe He loves you. That being said, I think a lot of today's Christianity really does not take and follow the precepts of the Bible, because
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons why I'm not in church. Is just I see too much, and I shouldn't let it take and keep me out of church. But I see too many people that I've seen people that don't go to church be their first time in a church, and you can see from the looks on the faces that they're being judged. And it's like, bruh, Bible says, "Come as you are." You know what I'm saying? Jesus was with the he wasn't with the Pharisees and stuff like that. He wasn't with the religious leaders of the day. He was talking to the criminals and to the prostitutes. You
yeah,
know, he had a lawyer, but that fucker hid up in a tree. You know what I'm saying? And that's, he had a tax man too, but he
right.
wasn't a tax man after he. So he didn't. The legal people, the religious people and stuff. That's not who Jesus was hanging around. He was in the slums. He was with the low of the earth.
Yeah,
And so I think there's too many churches and too many Christians that it's more about self gratification, and basically I think scaring the congregation into staying on a straight and narrow path and taking and showing love, showing charity. Because the two greatest commandments that were given: have no other gods before me, and love your neighbor as yourself. Those were the
yeah,
two biggest, those New Testament two greatest commandments. Jesus said, no other God, no other God, love your neighbor as yourself. Those are the two greatest commandments. And I don't see people in a church taking loving others as themselves.
no,
They'd rather take throw fisticuffs in the park a lot. I'm like, you do realize that Jesus took and reattached the Roman's ear that Peter cut off, right? Like he's turned the other cheek. There's a reason why he took and said that. And y'all,
Yeah. But
it's
that's the institution. That's the religions, not the faith. That's
yeah,
the thing.
exactly.
You know, you probably know I'm an atheist. I don't believe it. You know, never judge anybody else for whatever weird nonsense you want to believe. I'm joking. But it's the organizations, it's the churches, it's just
It's the dogma and the doctrine that they take and push individually sometimes amongst
yeah.
each church.
You know, I've said this before. Anybody can believe. Any adult believe what you want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once you start trying to force it on other people, that's when it becomes awkward for me. But I mean, I know you said about Jesus being in the slums and all that there. So I might have been a comedian the other day said, you do realize Jesus was the first communist, you know, because he was.
It's funny with all these evangelicals and the Republicans here, and they want to take and point at religion. I'm like, you do realize that, you know, Jesus' first miracle was turning water into wine at a wedding party, and number two, Joseph is given as a type of Christ in the Old Testament, and what did he do? That's right, he took and opened the grain silos there in Egypt for people that even, like his own family, took and sojourned to Egypt to take and get grain because of a famine.
Yeah,
that's the government that took and did that.
Yeah.
You take a look at Jesus, Sermon on the Mount. What does he do? 5 loaves and 2 fish. He feeds 5,000 people. I'm sorry. I think there's no clearer sign that we should take and, you know what I'm saying, that maybe there should be some kind of help there for folks that need it than what y'all want to take and give credit for, and you're trying to use religion to take and back up your, your
absolutely. So, right, we're at the halfway mark. Okay, so that's question 10. So it's this point that I normally try and blag something free. So this is the point where I name my unofficial sponsor. So I'm desperate to get a free bottle of whiskey off the fuckers. So yeah, come ahead, Bushmill. So when you come over, we'll get you some of that. That's a Distillery Reserve. That's my favorite whiskey so far. You know, I'm not an expert.
Okay.
And you're not getting any of that. You can fuck off.
No, don't want any of that. I just want a chink of your glass.
No, go away. Leave me alone.
Okay.
I say I shouldn't have let the civil service in. You know.
No. Civil service.
Cheers, everybody. But it was out. No, I'll talk to you off camera about a different whiskey. I don't want to ruin my Bushmill sponsorship. You know, so. Right, so something daft to get a bit more lighthearted. So, if you could pick one superpower, what would it be?
Ooh, probably the power to turn invisible.
Okay.
I don't know, just flying. That didn't seem you wouldn't be able to go too high up with flying, because then wouldn't be able to take and breathe the air because there's not enough oxygen. You know. Super strength, fuck all that. People would be asking you to do shit all day, every day. So.
Sorry, you said super strength. Daniel answered super strength because he could dig holes really quickly. It's the stupidest thing. But look there, he said super strength. Yeah, I honestly I couldn't help but laugh when he said it. You know, so yeah, I want to be able to dig a hole in the garden. It's just so stupid. You know.
What that'd be that? What Daniel Hoba, you got part golden retriever in you or something like that? Because but yeah, I think the ability to turn invisible, like you're not all the time invisible, but the ability to turn invisible, so that way you see folks coming down the driveway you don't want to fucking talk to. You could be in the house trying to fucking,
That's it. Yeah. There is that. I think, it's weird because the first one I did this, it was Joey, and everything. Joey just wanted better ways to see titties, so I kind
Enjoy
No
it
matter
with
what
his
he
titties,
picked,
man.
it was X-ray vision, or it was invisibility, so he could just walk in and watch them change it. So I don't even remember what he picked, So, um,
Lord have mercy.
yeah. Oh well, the man's he's got a singular vision of the world, Fair play to him. So, um, okay, so we bit more serious. Question 12: what is your biggest insecurity?
Ooh, biggest insecurity. Probably, I always feel like I'm not good enough, man. Like that's one of the things, and it's partially due to my childhood. So that's probably my biggest one. That just sometimes I try to overcompensate. It's one of the reasons why a lot of times for first couple of years of the marriage, my wife had taken. I had to figure out, just because I'm trying to take and prove my point, don't mean I take and talk to somebody else like they're a fucking idiot. And I would, but that's a result of the way I was grew up. Uh, Basically, anytime you were wrong, like you got talked to like you were a fucking idiot.
Mm,
So, um, I mean, I remember taking and being like, shit. I think I was like 13, 14 years old, washing a truck, and stepdad come out, just like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, bro, I'm washing the truck. And he somehow is washing the fucking truck wrong. Are you stupid? Do this. And it's like, bro, it's washing the fucking truck. Like, all I gotta do is get the motherfucker clean. Like, what the fuck? But stupid shit like that
yeah,
is, you know,
yeah. I think it's hard. I don't think like certainly my parents' generations realized the damage they could do to kids. And I don't mean physically. I don't mean but just the bad habits they instilled, you know, the psychological damage they did by not. And I'm not talking about like being all hugs and kisses and stuff, but but either overly liberal or overly
yeah.
harsh with kids. There has to be a middle ground, and
That's one of the things I fight against with the 10-year-old because, and she does see things a little bit differently, the way she processes stuff, but the
yeah,
way she takes and pushes for things and asks for things, and it's a repetitive fucking nature. I have to take and
yeah.
try to remind myself to not get overly just frustrated and come across that way to her. And I fail too many times as a fucking dad doing that. I feel like, and that's one of the things I'm trying to take and do is make my kids feel like they can't do
Well,
shit right.
you say you feel, but it's an ongoing process. And she's only 10. You've got years to
Oh
try and
yeah,
fix
yeah.
it. Um, and yeah, but I mean, I suppose did getting big numbers on YouTube not sort of alleviate some of that anxiety about not being good enough?
Fuck no, fuck no. I think that's one of those. Sometimes there's some things I think that go deep enough that you have to work, and that's something I still haven't worked out. It's something that I've been coming to terms with more and more as I get older. The 109,000 helps, no
Yeah,
fucking doubt, because it's something
sure.
I built this motherfucker from the ground up.
Yep.
I've got 3 monetized channels on YouTube, and that's something that I personally accomplished. And this right here, getting that silver plaque, like
Yeah.
that's something that a lot of folks don't take and see in their YouTube lifetime is that 100K
Oh,
plaque.
absolutely,
And so
absolutely.
that's definitely an achievement. But I'm also looking at JT Reacts. A motherfucker started after I did with the British stuff, and he's at 140,000. So you know what I'm saying? You still got that little bit of shit that you fucking shoot for, and you
Uh, I mean,
always want to take and do
you
better.
have to keep a target, but I mean, you've come a long way from reviewing a bloody Saber truck or whatever it was you first did,
Yeah, yeah. And the crazy thing is that was on a different channel.
right?
So the way this shit has worked for me has just been absolutely nuts. because that first channel I went from doing beer reviews and I was like, I'm gonna do reactions. I've been watching reactions for like a year and a half. I'm gonna start doing reactions. And I did a couple of videos. It's like 8 or 10 reactions, and I reacted to that Cybertruck. And it, me, JV, and Blake in an all fair hangout, we were just chit chatting. JV was like, "Yeah, man, that Cybertruck video is doing awesome, ain't it?"
Yeah.
What are you talking about? So I looked and it had like 20,000 views in the previous 48 hours. I said, "What the fuck?" I looked at the full numbers on it. I was like, "Bro, this motherfucker's almost at it's like 40,000, 60,000 views almost." And I was like, "Holy shit!" So I took and run with that for until COVID hit. And then once COVID hit, I was like, "Well, there's no more EV news, so there goes that."
Yeah.
I was like, "So, well, let me start a different channel to take it to the reactions." And a year's time, I had 1,300 subs, and then that Al Murray that motherfucker went nuclear.
Right. Okay.
So the fact that I've kind of got lightning in a bottle more than once.
Yeah.
I'm lucky.
No, you definitely sometimes have to hit that one. I think Daniel and Spencer for them. I think listen, Oasis did it for them. It was one of the things that, not the only thing, but it was one of the things that gave them a big dunk. They didn't know Oasis
and them fuckers. I love them fuckers, but I got to get my ass in gear at the beginning of the new year. They gonna fucking pass me up. Fucking 107,000. Fuck that shit. I love y'all, fellas, but I can't let y'all pass me now. God damn it.
I know, but you need to get your computer fixed, and then you need. But look, and JV, JV's a good man to have in your corner. JV's been brilliant with me, and you've known him a lot longer than I have.
I've not been able to talk to him or Blake like I'd like the last 3 or 4 months. I love him. Love JV to death. He is such an awesome dude. Not only is he one of the nicest people you ever run across, but that motherfucker is super talented. Like,
I know, I hate that. He's good at everything.
Right?
He's likable. Everybody takes to him like that. He's likable. He's brilliant at the guitar. He can do drums. He's brilliant at video editing. He's funny. He's okay. He's got half a ton of creosote, but his hair is perfect. His hair is never out of place. He's
and Blake too. Those are my two people right there. Like, it's funny because we were part of the beer review community, and me, Blake, and JV just kind of separated ourselves a bit. I had already started taking and doing the reactions and stuff, but even before then, we kind of separated ourselves from the others in that community. And I think it's probably the best decision I could have made personally, but I think all of us could have made, because they're all a bunch of lovely folks over there. But
yeah, I mean, hold on a second. Look, if you're leaving, leave.
Yeah, I'm going, man.
Right. Well, can I?
Yeah.
I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm live. I'm doing my show. Fuck off.
I know, man. It's been fun, YouTube. Cheerio.
Yo.
Yeah. Well, I'd be like my first introduction to YouTube was Blake, JV. I mean, actually on YouTube, not just with and Thrice. So they're always the three. Joey was very quick to become part of that.
I can't remember where I met fucking Joey through. But that fucker right there, love him to death. Thrash too. Thrash is just such a good laid back fella.
Yeah. Joey. Look, Joey. I didn't know Joey that well. I'd sort of been watching him. It's like everything. I sort of found them through. Like I said earlier, I met Blake through you, and then JB through Blake, and so on and so forth. And Joey was on our list as well. But I was lying in bed one night, and I got for some reason I wasn't sleeping, and the phone bleeped, and Joey just went, "I'm coming to Belfast." I'm like, it wasn't, "Can I come and see you?" Just, "I'm coming to Belfast." And I'm literally half asleep, going, "Are you sure Belfast's not great?" He was, "Yes, bro, I'm coming. I'm just coming to deal with it." Okay. There was no option given. It's just, I'm coming. I'm going to the UK. I'm flying over to meet you, bro. And then okay, then and I'm really glad he did. It was great, So and part of the reason I love Joey so much, he's exactly the same in real life as he is on camera. He's loud. You can fucking hear him for miles. He's the most. I mean, certainly over here, he was the most American person you've ever seen in Northern Ireland. People just, because you're up to the touristy stuff, you're up the causeway and stuff like that. And people just looked at him and went, "You're American, aren't you?" And yeah, man. And so everybody's over, So, but
I was going to say, I don't think there's any way Joey could be anything but what he is on YouTube, because there's no him being quieter. I don't think.
And also we're standing in Robinson's, but ordered just some pub grub, and Joey's standing as loud as Joey is talking about titties and stuff, and you can see all these people in the bar looking at him. We're standing going,
Yo.
and that's not a word of a lie. There, he's standing as loud as
That is
loud as
hilarious.
Joey is.
Oh my god.
And you could just people looking at him, and he just in fair play to him, he just didn't give a fuck, and it's not a bad way to be, you know what I mean? I'm too worried sometimes about what people think and all the rest of it, so fair fuck to him, so right. So question 13. So at the flip side of this, but what's the worst experience of your life?
Ooh, probably the car wreck that broke my hip.
Right.
I was married, or I wasn't married at the time. I was engaged to another girl. She was pregnant. We were going to local. There's a grocery store called IGA, International Grocers Association. So, but the IGA, we were going. It's like the town over from the little community we live in, and we were riding with my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. So her sister and our brother-in-law, and I'd given him. We had stopped at the gas station beforehand. I'd given him like a couple cigarettes out the pack that I had, because I smoked at that point, and took him, went to. It'd been raining, and it was still real wet, and this road is nothing but trees on either side. He took and looks back and asks for a cigarette. I'm like, bro, I'd just fucking give you 3, but here, whatever. And he looks over at his wife, my sister-in-law, for a second. This whole time, his eyes have been off the road. So, of course, the car veers off the road a little, starts veering a little bit. So he overcorrects, pulling the car back onto the road, and we started fishtailing, and wound up hitting a pine tree. And I had no seatbelt, so I had to take and wedge my feet up underneath the seats in front of me, and hold the backs of the headrests and stuff like that. We probably hit the tree doing like 30 miles an hour, 35. I think he'd gotten it at least down at that point. I think 45, 50. I probably would have broke both arms and went through the windshield. But we hit doing about 30, 35 head on to a pine tree, and I went up, and when I come back down, my what's that? The femur right there took and pushed my hip bone up into the pelvic area. Took and broke it in half. I wound up having to take and pull myself out the car and across the road. And wife or fiance at the time knew that something wasn't right with the baby. So we had to get transported from where we're at out in the middle of bumfuck Egypt, out in the middle of fucking nowhere, downtown Charleston, which is a fucking hour and a half ride, just about an hour. I say hour and a half. It's about an hour ride, but in an ambulance, and them taking and not doing full on what they could.
Yeah.
It took about 2. It felt like it took 6 hours to get there, but I think it's about an hour and a half ride. So we lost a baby, and wound up having to have a surgery, $70,000 that they wound up writing the fuck off.
Right.
I didn't get any state taxes for a couple of years, but yeah, that's probably the worst experience.
Yeah, that feels like adding insult to injury, quite literally. Yeah, you fucked everything up. You the worst experience of your life, and here's a big bill for it as well. That's it's weird that, because we're not used to that here, because our people keep saying our health service is free. It's not free. It's just paid for out of your taxes. It's just free at the
Free
point
at
of
the point of
service.
service, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Which I'm
different.
sure even with y'all's taxes, y'all aren't paying as much in taxes per week as we're paying out of our paychecks per fucking week for fucking decent fucking healthcare coverage.
Yeah, it's.
Because then
I'm not.
you add in what you got to take and pay for the fucking. Mine was last time I took and paid, it was $150 a week, so $600 a month, and then I also had to take a deductible, so I had to take and beat a $9,000 deductible before health care covered everything 100%.
Fuck.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it's, like you've done you've a lot of you've done videos, reacting, comparing, comparing the UK and the American system. But truth be told, I don't think either is perfect. I really don't. Our system is not right. But I think I'd probably rather the NHS than the private medical insurance and that over there. That's the thing. The only thing is, I'd say if you had good medical insurance, you'd probably get a better standard of care. It's just costing you six fortunes. That's the problem.
yeah.
So it's like I say, there's no absolute right or wrong. So I just want to, hello Stoney, how you doing? So right, okay. Question 14. Have you loved enough in your life?
No, probably not.
Okay.
That's one of the things that I don't know how you take and quantify how much you've loved in your life, but I
Yeah.
know in between marriages and uh, growing up and shit like that, like I didn't have a bad childhood whatsoever. It's just there was some fucked up shit that happened.
Yeah.
It's some fucked up shit. But I don't think I have. That's something I'm trying to take and make up for with the kids and with the wife and with people that I meet going forward. Because I'll be honest with you, I've got a barfly personality, but bro, I hate large crowds and shit like that. So, but
Right.
like we went into Walmart and stuff like that before, and there'd be too many people, and I just go wait out the trouble, and there's just too many
Right.
motherfuckers.
Okay.
Like get anxiety all of a sudden. But I come across people, and I try to take and at least make them smile. You know what I'm saying? Be on the aisle, be on the aisle with folks, and you'd be like, oh, they're trying to take and price poor people out of existence and just take and shoot the shit and get somebody to crack a joke, smile. So I
Yeah.
try to take and show love to others and show kindness to people and try to take and bring, some kind of, at least a moment of cracking a smile. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to take and remedy that a bit.
See, I'll be honest. That's surprising. I didn't think. Never would have pictured you as somebody that didn't like crowds and wee bit anxious in crowds because
For the longest time, I took and hit a lot of that shit with alcohol. Like I said, I paid Jack Daniel's light bills probably
right.
for a couple years. Um, I got it diagnosed about 4 years ago with anxiety disorder because I'd on the job site I'd have panic attacks coming home, being at the house randomly I'd have panic attacks and I was like I got to go see a doctor and they tried to put me
Yeah.
on Zoloft for that shit and that just made me angrier than a fucking rattlesnake. So
Yeah.
I had to wean myself off that shit and even then I got brain zaps and shit. Do not, bro, if you get anything like Zoloft or fucking Prozac, wean yourself off that medically like they want you to. God
Yeah.
dang, that shit sucks.
They're way too quick now to throw tablets at people. It's not the answer. It's not the answer for everybody, I should say.
No, that's one of the reasons why now when I can get my hands on it, I use weed. So because I've tried Klonopins and I've done Zoloft and stuff like that, and Klonopin is lovely. It just makes you want to sleep for half the fucking
Right.
day.
Okay. Yeah.
But
I don't
you
know
know,
that. It's weird. Um. I'm not sure. I just don't like people. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the vast majority of people could all fuck off and die. Right. Not a fan. But when I get to know somebody and I think that I get to like them and they get to like me a wee bit, then I'm different with them, and then I
yeah,
instinctively think that everybody doesn't like me. A couple of people now I'm really friendly with through YouTube, that I thought they don't like me, and I always think people don't like me, And BC's one of them. I didn't think BC liked me. Samantha Lee was another. I thought Samantha didn't like me, and fucking, love her to bits, And but my instinct is every time
But
just
BC with the way he fucks with people, I loved
yeah,
to hear him taking
yeah.
shit.
I've,
He talk some shit, man. He's
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. I mean, what you have to. I think with him, you have to just realize he's nearly 99.99% of what he says is just bullshit.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But
And
he seems like such a lovely dude.
yeah, and he there's certain people that just he pushes their buttons and they fall for it every time. So and it's weird. You see, but at big crowds, the only time I'd never had a full on panic attack. The nearest I got to it, ironically, was in the Black Sabbath crowd, 2012. There was 80,000 people in the field, and I was down near the front because we'd been there all day watching
Oh,
all the warm up acts. Soundgarden and all played, and all
oh
sorts.
wow,
So
that's a damn.
we were down near the front, and then I sort of looked round and realised. Because I'm normally quite happy. 'Cause I'm 6'3", I don't need to be at the front to look over people and stuff. And um, most gigs I tend to be further back. But because we had been there, you've multiple stages at the festivals, and just everybody we wanted to see was in the main stage, leading up to like Soundgarden, who, truth be told, I hated. And then Lamb of God were brilliant, and all these sorts of bands. It was a great day. But just before Black Sabbath come on, I started to feel claustrophobic in the crowd. Looked round, and I remember
Was the
saying to
crowd
them,
pressed up
"No, we
around you and everything?
weren't even that close. It's just because you looked round, and
And that's
just
all you've seen?
yeah." And I started to get a bit weird about it. Because I remember saying to Graham, "I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go." And it wasn't that I didn't want to see the band or anything. I was just starting it. But thankfully, they come on. Since the music started, just relaxed. But
Yeah.
just looking around and seeing that big a crowd, I just said, "Look, never again. I'll stand at the back, like not right at the back, but further back, where it's a bit more spaced out, and you can get to the bar and you can get to the toilets, and you're in a crowd that big. If you leave your mates to go and do anything, you're not finding them again.
No.
You're just not doing it. I mean, you've been drinking beer all day. You're gonna have to run off to the toilet. And it's. And when you're separating, you're just not fine. And normally that's after 4 days, you've no charge on your phones. You can't even text them and go, where are you? I'll meet you at such and such. And because I remember the first one I went to at Pisstown, we saw it's the weirdest thing. It rained all day, and Aerosmith with the final act, and the mate went off. He wanted to see Suicidal Tendencies, and with this ACDC with one of the headliners on the Friday night. And we right, we'll meet here. This pillar, the one with the big ACDC poster, right? We'll meet
Mhm.
here. And he went off to see it. I stood and watched Aerosmith and all the rest of it. And it pissed down and my phone died and everything. And I'm standing going, fuck's sake, where are you? But it turned out there was an ACDC poster every 15 feet. Um, and we didn't realize yeah, because there's my headline act. And I'm standing one pillar and he's at the other going, where the fuck are you? And I'm standing going, where are you? You took me back 2 ages ago. And it literally, and we couldn't phone each other because the battery had died and it rained everything. It was stupid, but yeah, I get the anxiety thing, but but this portrays a different image, because you do come across as confident and outgoing and all the rest of it. So, but I suppose
Oh no,
it's done in a good way.
everybody puts on a facade. Like everybody's gonna. My wife gets a different version of me than what YouTube does. Like if when I worked at a job, they got a different version of me than the wife got. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so you got, and to be honest with you, I think one of the things that has worked out in my favor, as much as I have an insecurity of just not feeling like I'm good enough, I've got an ego like a motherfucker. You've got to have a fucking ego on this. And you got to take and have that feeling of, I'm going to do this shit the fucking best. I don't care what the fuck you do on YouTube. I don't care what you do in life. You've got to feel like, I'm going to do this shit the fucking best. And you see somebody that's doing a little bit better, fuck it. You try to outwork them motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? that's how I always tried doing it. Every other fucking job I've had, and that's how I've applied the same shit to YouTube. So you try
Right.
to. That's the way I try to get over that feeling of just not being good enough with shit. Just fuck it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna take and try to outwork shit. Which, granted, I'll be honest with you. Once I hit about 70K, the workload has lightened a little bit. One
Right.
video a day instead of 3 videos a day. But I think I'm gonna have to take and remedy that in the new year, at least for a little while.
Yeah, because what I'm led to believe is the consistency that'll get you numbers. You think back, some people are starting to expect me to be on a Friday night. I've only done a handful of these, but because JV's not doing the hangouts, people expect me. They expect Joey to be live before it. So everybody knows to do that, and certainly for YouTube to push your stuff out. What I'm led to believe is you need to consistently put content out, and even if it isn't all super content, it's still just content going out. But it's tough. I mean, like I do this live, so I spend an hour, in advance, just sort of prepping and try and make some of the questions. I've set questions that I ask everybody, but I try and tailor the rest of them. And I said earlier, a lot of yours is similar to some of the other guys because it's reactions. So that's why I British comedy, blah blah blah. But I try and tailor them. But I don't have to sit for 4 hours editing videos
Yeah.
the way you do. Sit and watch it, then sit and edit and all the rest of it. And it's
And
um
see, and for me, one of the things going forward in the next year is I do want to start doing different stuff, but I've got to take and get this channel back to running on all pistons again, to where
yeah
I'm getting the views and numbers and the monetary stuff that I can put some attention to another set of content that I want to start making.
yeah
So
yeah because I know. I mean, I was talking with Squirrel. He travels. He's five kids, hasn't he? Five boys.
yeah,
And then he's getting banned with 4 hours sleep a night, and I'm like, I don't know how he fucking does it. I just the man's a machine. But and sitting editing videos and all. I mean, I started sticking out a few shorts recently just because I finally got my own content, and truth be told, a lot of this for me is just fun. I may never be monetized. I don't care. I'm not chasing it. I'm only doing it for a bit of crack. I enjoy sitting and talking to people that I like, and that's the long and the short of it. I started doing shorts again because I've got some of my own stuff to do, and I'm playing about. There's JV has me on using CapCut for video editing now,
yeah.
and it's new to me, so I'm learning to do that. And it's just something for me to do, and it's something interesting, But it's it's a lot of work for you. It just really is. Editing big long videos and doing reactions and all.
What's
Um,
What's funny is a lot of folks don't realize. Like for me, I've taken when I record my reactions, I've got two separate instances of OBS, one for me and one for the video I'm reacting to.
yeah,
And I've started trying to add zooming and stuff like that for
yeah,
for certain sections of videos here and there and stuff like that. I've added like pop in type stuff for some of them. Like if I wanted to take the time to edit and take and do a video real snazzy like and stuff like it, bro, that would be God. That would take fucking forever. Because as it
yeah,
stands right now, for a 30-minute video, if I have to cut stuff, like if I react to, I'll say that, like Doctor Who's an hour-long TV show, I have to take and
yeah.
cut that to where it kind of looks like it's been kind of jumbled together. I try to keep at least the narrative of what's happening going, but
Uh,
with the way I have to take and do editing and stuff like that, it takes 3.5 hours sometimes to take and edit the video.
yeah, yeah.
That's just the regular.
I'll be honest. So about 6 months ago, maybe a bit longer, maybe 9 months ago now, I started doing music shorts. It was something to do, again, I was learning DaVinci Resolve. I was using.
Hmm.
I wasn't overly bothered about them being out. I wasn't trying to be a big channel like that. I wanted to learn the process, but the thing that gave me much more respect for you all is I was spending 2 hours on a 59-second short, but it's people that aren't doing stuff like that don't realize how much work's involved in it, and that me just pissing about, just knocking out some fucking ACDC stuff, is let's say 2 hours for something that's at maximum 59 seconds, and it's a lot of work, and then you spend 2 hours on it, and the Joey says it gets copyrighted, and you have to go back and edit it again, and then you stick it out, and then you realize you fucking misspelled something, or I one of the ones I did, one of the ones I got the most reaction from was I put the wrong song on. I can't remember what it was, but I added the wrong clip, and I said it was Aerosmith, it was ACDC, something like that, and that was the one just everybody jumped right away, and that's a trick we've learned. You need to put mistakes in your videos because people don't comment all the time going, "Your video is great, I like your list, I agree with your top 10."
Oh yeah.
But if you put, because I mean, with when I was there, I did one of the top drummers, and I deliberately put Animal from the Muppets in it just to get a reaction from the people. So it's
That's funny.
Yeah, so put a mistake in. Some of them just deliberately, because you'll just get, why did you do this? Why did you do that? So anyway, question 15 then. Where would you most like to travel to, and why?
Ooh. Well, top 2 places I think on my list are sorry for folks that are in England specifically, but top 2 places on my list are Ireland and Iceland. Iceland just looks absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like frozen wasteland, whatever, is beautiful. And I want to take and see that in person. Ireland, everything I've ever seen of Ireland is all green, it just rolling fields, and just looks absolutely gorgeous. Not only that, but also a lot of the it's got the old, a lot of the old historic houses and stuff like that, like England has. It's just I don't know what it is. It's for me, it's always been a place I've always wanted to visit. That being said, I do want to visit the rest of the I'll say the UK, because Ireland's not part of the UK, but I do want to visit the UK itself. So
part of Ireland's UK,
but Northern Ireland.
Yeah, and look, I'll be honest, I haven't seen enough of it. Joey coming over sort of put a wee give me a wee kick up the arse, because Joey, what do you want to do? He's a touristy shit. I want to go to the Giant's Causeway. I want to go and see Titanic shit, is I think what he said. And I'd been to the Causeway years ago, but okay, we'll do that. The thing called the Calgary Rope Bridge, but if it's windy, you can't do it. It was closed, and we did the Titanic Museum and all. But it sort of got me thinking, I want to do more shit myself, and have stuff on my own doorstep, and have stuff down across the border. So we're talking next year. There's parts of Ireland, there's loads of Ireland I haven't seen. And Scotland, I've only ever driven through Scotland. I've never actually really visited it. Because the boat is the closest point between Ireland and the mainland is, it's Scotland. So you go on the boat and then you drive down. So when you go down to down to Liverpool, going to the Anfield for the match or whatever, and it's so stopped off in Gretna Green. Gretna Green's where, sadly, it's a bit like our really pathetic Vegas, because it's in that wee. It's a wee weird municipality or wee weird town where people usually run away and get married. People usually elope, kids, because they can get married in it when you're like 16 and you don't need parents' permission. So people used to go to it. Because I want to go and see a load of the whiskey distilleries, to be honest, as well, in Scotland. So
that's once I make my way to Scotland, that's one of the things I want to do, is do it.
Yeah.
Distillery tours.
Yeah, although at this point, I mean, I'm only really starting. I've only been drinking whiskey for about 14 months, so it's just fall in love with it, But I want to get over there, because Scottish people can be really good crack, and it's a beautiful country as well, So, well, from what I've seen on TV, it looks great. So, and I like the history stuff. I'm sort of, I want to go over and go around some, like, go to Edinburgh Castle and go and see, a lot of that stuff myself. But yeah, so
I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, there's stuff. I mean, one of the most relevant battles certainly in Ireland, was the Battle of the Boyne in 1690. July 1690. Because it led to it was a European wide battle between Catholicism and Protestantism. It wasn't just us idiots here fighting. And it's down in County Meath. It's about an hour and a half away in the car, and it's supposed to they've put a big visitor centre on it, and it's supposed to be a great day out, because you get to go and see it. We call it a river. It's more like you usually call it a stream, for God's sake. It's not very big, but it's supposed to be great. And then there's one of the oldest Neolithic sites. It's the Grange, I think it's called. It's just like it's about half an hour further down. So we're talking about going down next year and seeing that sort of thing, So I love all that old crap, it's fascinating to me, So
I'm gonna be honest with you. Once I make my way over that way, I plan on coming to see you. I don't want to see any touristy shit. Take me to a couple of good pubs or something,
See, we were out Friday night for our works Christmas dinner, so I had to ask one of the guys, like the name to put Duke of York, Belfast, and I knew the name and I had an idea where it was. And I said, because if you ask for directions in Ireland, what they'll do is they'll start naming pubs. It's not go to such the streets, and they all started doing it. So Simon I work with, he starts going, do you know this pub? No, don't know that. You know that. No, don't know any of them. Fuck it, I'll Google it. So naming one after the other. And then my boss phoned me when he was on my way home, and I was laughing. Said Simon was giving me directions. He was naming all these pubs, and he started doing it. Oh, it's where the merchandise is just around the corner. I said, don't you fucking start it? Didn't know that. And so I get lifted into town, and I was dropped off in the wrong place. And I was walking about trying to find anything. I had to Google the name of the fucking pub 4 times. Couldn't remember the name of it. So I was going up to the bouncer going, can you show me where the... And I had to literally get the phone up and where did I search for? And there's loads of the nightlife in Belfast now. There's all these bars and pubs. They're what we call a cathedral quarter. And I'd never been in half of them, but it was there's definitely plenty down there to take you to when you come over. So okay, so bit of a music one, just a bit of change of pace then. What would your 3 desert island discs be?
Ooh. Probably be Linkin Park Hybrid Theory.
Okay.
The Avett Brothers, The Carpenter, and probably Waylon Jennings' greatest hits.
No, you can't have greatest hits. No, that's cheating.
Oh,
Because otherwise I would just have AC/DC live at Castle Donington, because that's like a greatest hits, because they, well, you can pick what you want. I'm only joking, but
it has to be Waylon Jennings' greatest hits. It's because there's not much Waylon that I listen to that I don't care for.
right, okay. I love some of the old classic country, but I don't know millions of it. I grew up, my mum listening to Patsy Cline and Loretta Lynn and Johnny Cash and Boxcar Willie. She loves Boxcar Willie.
And see, I could actually take and switch out I could switch out Waylon Jennings' greatest hits with My Chemical Romance, The Black Parade, because that album right there from top to bottom.
Right.
Like this is one of those. See, this is a dickhead question. This is a dickhead question. How do you pick just 3?
Oh, I know. I
could do the same thing with I could even switch out. I don't know. I don't think I could switch out the Avett Brothers or Linkin Park, but I could switch Green Day, American Idiot. That's a fucking masterpiece of an album from top to fucking bottom. Shit, the Temptations, or so much stuff from the Temptations.
It's tough. So you don't see the Desert Island Disc thing's big over here. It's a program that's been going for God, I'd say 30, 40 years, but they just have celebrities and people on and just go, if you're allowed 1 book, you're allowed 3 albums, that sort of thing. So So it's always in my head. But
See, I'd almost have to do a mixtape though, because I'd have to take it to at least one of them being a mixtape, because I could put stuff like some Dean Martin, some Duffy, some fucking
no, that's definitely cheap. The greatest hits I think we could sneak in, but you know,
yeah,
but making a
yeah,
mix CDs just not on. I mean, right, the plane's crashing. You can grab three things, right? Well, bring me some blank CDs, and I'll make something. You know, I don't think you know.
yeah. But yeah, that's so hard because there's so many good things, like so many good albums that like I could take and do shit albums called Page Avenue. I'm trying to remember the name of the band. It's one of those screamo bands.
Right.
Fucking that album right there from Story of the Year, Page Avenue. That's another one. That's
Right,
just
okay.
there's so many albums like that I've listened to. They're just Garth Brooks. You name any of Garth Brooks' first 6 or 7 albums, and I could listen.
I could see. I struggle to name three. I've one absolute definite. Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd. Love that album. You know, it's whenever I'm sort of stressing and just put that on, just hit play, sit down and listen to the thing in its entirety. And then there'd probably be some sort of ACDC in there, probably High Voltage. First ever album. But after that, picking the third one, it depends what mood I'm in. That's the problem. Sometimes it would be, oh, fucking hell. Give me a sec. That drunken idiot that was here left that open, you know. So, sometimes it's definitely maybe Oasis, you know. Sometimes it would be, you know, the Black Album and Metallica. Just a lot of time it just depends what
That's
mood you're in.
another really good one.
Yeah, you know. So it's a hard thing to do, and weirdly I think about it way too much, you know. So but yeah, that first Oasis album definitely maybe is just, you know, it's just right up there for me, you know. But then again, next week it could be, you know, sometimes it depends what you're listening to. So it's tough, but like, hopefully we'll not be in this situation. So
Right?
um and fuck CDs. I'll just have my phone. I've got hundreds of albums on my phone now, so I'll
Yeah,
just
just give me my phone with my Spotify, because then
that's
I've got the White Stripes. I think I've got all of the White Stripes albums in a fucking playlist. I can listen to the White Stripes from fucking
yeah.
top to
I
bottom.
love. I did love the first album. Loved it, but I didn't listen to much of them after that. Although I do love when he does Jolene live. That
Oh
bit
yeah,
was it is just
I loved
fantastic.
that. And, his Death Letter by Leadbelly.
Right.
His
Okay.
version of that he did live was fucking
Right.
phenomenal.
See. I,
See, I could do it. See, and speaking of Leadbelly, I could take and do Nirvana Unplugged. Would be that's a fantastic fucking set,
yeah.
because
It's actually the
they
only Nirvana album that I really liked was the Unplugged one. I don't mind Nirvana, but I'm not a massive fan. But I love the Unplugged one.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
that's one of those ones. That's the first time I think for me when the lead singer of a band died and people kind of stopped. At least whenever I was growing up,
Yeah.
people in the let's see, I was what 12 or so whenever he died,
Right.
11 or
Okay.
12. So a lot of my friends that were a year older or around the same age,
Yeah.
we all kind of listened to that kind of stuff. So it was one of those holy shit,
Yeah.
So they were one of those big ones, and they're In Utero wasn't as good as Nevermind, and you know, but that Unplugged album was just fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, because that was a great series. That MTV Unplugged was fantastic. You know,
Oh yeah,
not every band got it right. In fairness, I mean, you know, Oasis made a complete, you know, dog's dinner of it, but that's because, you know, one of the two of the brothers just decided to not do it properly, and it was just stupid, you know. But and it was such a shame because they could have got a good before Liam's voice went. I think Liam's voice isn't right anymore. I think he just eventually just couldn't carry on the way he was, and just my opinion, you know. So just in case you're watching, Liam, you dick. Um, right. So only threw this one last week, and I'm just let's stick with it. I like it. If you could kill one person, consequence free, who would it be and why? No jail time, no hell, no nothing.
Probably my wife's ex-boyfriend,
Okay.
because after they took and split, he fucked the woman that I was married to at the time. So yeah, yeah. So
Right.
probably him. That he's been a perpetual pain in the dick,
Right.
basically.
Okay.
Like he's one of those ones that after me and her got together, tried reaching out to her a couple of times, and I finally told him, next time I see you, I'm fucking swinging. Leave her the fuck alone. I'm gonna fucking
Right.
strangle you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, him. Nobody would miss him, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't even think I feel
Yeah.
bad about it either.
It'd be nice just to have a free pass once, wouldn't it? You know, just somebody that's fucking things up for everybody. Just right.
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
gonna take you out of the equation. Uh. Yeah.
James.
These days I can't argue with that too much. Unfortunately, I like it's weird. I I'm super patriotic, right? So whenever somebody from our wee bit of the world goes to America, goes whatever, I want them to do well. When it comes to sports, I want British stars to do well. I want British fighters to win. I wanted James Corden to do well over there, and he did. But then he just turned into a complete prick. He maybe was always a prick. I don't know, but he just started to become a bit of a star fucker and a bit of a just. You
One
know,
second, my wife is trying to.
yeah. But yeah, it's weird. I mean, Spencer from Embrace the Sucks coming over to the UK this year to see Liam, and I think it's a waste of money. I don't think the man's be able to sing properly in about 15 years. You know,
Wife is coming to steal her Xbox so she can go play COD in the living room.
yeah, fair play, fair play. We're nearly there. You get to join us soon. So, question 18: what's your favorite conspiracy theory?
Oh,
Doesn't have to. I'm not saying it's one that you think's real, but just your favorite conspiracy.
probably that the Illuminati helped set up, laid out Washington D.C. Had the
Okay.
Freemasons tie into the Masons. The Freemasons tie into the Illuminati because
Okay.
it's crazy because that's actually a deep history dive having to take and go back to like 1400s Germany and the Illuminati society that was there, and then it being basically the German government being like, no, you got to y'all. They were causing too much trouble. They were trying to permeate the society, so they kind of dispersed, and some went to France and some went to England and stuff like that. So you see Mason stuff kind of throughout the world from that. But it's kind of interesting trying to just looking at the layout and people like, oh look, it makes us
Yeah.
pentagram and blah blah blah. Blah. Yeah, it's stuff like it's for me because that's one of the things. I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist. Like
Yeah.
there's some amazing shit.
Yeah. I love them. I'm not a conspiracy nut in as much as I believe them all, but I love hearing them.
Yeah, yeah. Digging into them because it's interesting the theories that you run across just within the theory itself.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, it's like JFK. JFK. That's another interesting conspiracy theory because a lot of folks think it was the CIA, which is very, very much could be the case because you had Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson had connects to the CIA with George H.W.
Yeah,
And George H.W.'s daddy, Prescott, was one of the first. It's so like it's. But they had the memes and stuff because it's funny how quickly all of that shit just fell into place. Where like the people that were involved just
yeah,
like the Clintons.
let's not talk about the. I'm not suicidal. I'm not talking about them. Um, the funny enough, I just watched there was a new documentary about JFK recently, and what I didn't realize it was them fuckers from Ohio. They got JFK in, right. So because of their connections to the mob, the Teamsters got everybody to vote for JFK.
Mm-hmm.
They thought they'll have a president then they can control. But then him and Bobby hated the mafia and were going after them. So there's a link there to organized crime as well that is
And organized crime has been known to take and work with the CIA
absolutely
numerous times.
absolutely. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that because the
Well, see, he had
Kennedy.
also planned on decentralizing. We've got the Federal Reserve. He had planned on taking and closing down the Federal Reserve and decentralizing the bank and putting
Yeah,
us back on the gold standard here. And
yeah,
of course, you've got all these high level money people, and they can't be having stuff like that. There's a
yeah,
lot of stuff that.
yeah. I thought it was an interesting thing. I don't know the ins and outs, but I did hear. Right, this is weird. I'm I'm gonna fuck this up because I only just heard it the other day for the first time, right? But even in my head, I'm going ridiculous as it actually is. For a wee while, I was thinking, something that makes some sense. So apparently, and I can't even believe I'm going to say this. So there's a theory now that aliens basically seeded the Earth, populated the Earth with us, and they ingrained in us a love of gold, right? Which is why even before gold became, commercially, uh,
Viable because it was a throwaway metal at one point in time because
yeah, but
it's
even
a soft
before,
metal and
yeah, before they realized it was good for conducting electricity and all that, it was every society desired gold, and it can't be just because it was pretty, right? So
yeah.
these people that now think that the aliens put this desire for gold in it, and then in some way they're harvesting us through, and that's why I'm butchering it because I am going to look into it now. Just um,
But I'm sure the aliens are in cahoots with the lizard people on this though.
probably. Probably, but I love the moon landing one's brilliant for me. I love it. I love what the QI. I know you've seen a wee bit of it with Stephen Fry and that did it,
Mm-hmm.
and they talk about the moon landings and funny enough, I saw the clip the other day of Buzz Aldrin punching somebody that was outside the hotel in America. He was basically stalking him, going, "You're a liar! You didn't go to the moon and all."
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And he eventually had enough and just turned around because he called Buzz Aldrin a card and he just punched him. So and fair
And Buzz
play to him.
Aldrin's getting up there in years too, so
Yeah,
and turn around
because
and deck somebody like that.
there's a guy here, is it Patrick. Oh, golly grumpy. He was always he used to do a show here called The Sky at Night, and he always wore the monocle and all and talked like the proper posh, eccentric Englishman, but super smart. And one of the comedians in QI asked him, he says, "No, did they really land on the moon?" And the guy just looked at him and said, "Don't you ever talk to me again?" It's just if you ever ask me that question again, I'm just going to start punching you. He's just fed up with people. He says, "Do you know?" He says, "I'll tell you, I helped plan the missions. I know I helped pick the landing site and all, and it's brilliant." But that's one of my favorite ones as well. But I love them all. I don't believe the vast majority of them, but I just find them interesting. So
Did
okay.
Mama lock you in the room? And my dog's in there in the bedroom. And my wife locked him in. Hold on. We'll let you out. Come on. You gonna get out? Get out now. We're not doing this. Go on. You go and go. he he looked at he was looking at the door like that bitch. She locked me in.
Yeah, she got her Xbox and everything else, but just just
Yeah.
oblivious. So, um, okay. So, question 19. So, what have you learned about the British that you didn't know before doing the UK reactions?
Um. Well, everything we're always showing here about people from the UK is always motherfuckers with posh
Thank
accents
you. Sorry, Patrick Moore. Sorry.
or talking with a Cockney accent. It's one of the two. It's
Yeah.
that and everything's always regal and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I guess looking at some of the other stuff that outside of that, like I didn't realize how many fucking accents there are.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
it's absolutely insane how many accents there are on such a small island.
Yeah.
Um, just just kind of stuff like that because it's. I used to read a lot of history. Like that's one of the things growing up that I did was, even if it wasn't in school, which I always took an ace. Didn't matter if it was world history and geography, anything like that. Anything to take and learn about other cultures and stuff. So I also took and read a lot about. I loved reading about the Middle Age times and like one of the things I want to take and do want to dig into here on the channel or on my channel is more from like King Henry on, and also
Right.
King Henry and before, because the English Civil War that happened, Oliver
Yeah.
Cromwell and stuff like that. It's really interesting that everything is kind of it's such a long and storied history, so there's a lot to dive into, but there's a lot that I need a refresher on, basically. So there's
Yeah.
history wise, there's a lot I need to refresher on, but I've always read about European and UK history in and of itself because it's fascinating because it goes so far back. And you go from, the Roman Empire to the rise of Charlemagne, the unification of the tribes there in Germany to, having a somewhat, it's not so much of a nation, but, having a unified kingdom for the
Yeah.
most part. And then the rise of France. And then, it's the fact that the Roman army took and got as high, as far as it did up into England and into
Yeah.
Scotland to be taken out by the Vandals and and stuff like that just kind of rolled through. So I need to tell. I'm gonna start doing refreshers, but basically the accents. That's for me what's been the most surprising is the accents because
Right.
I've I figure not everybody there is all posh and uppity and shit like that.
No.
I mean, hell,
No.
everybody, there's
Far
more
from
than just London there in
Yeah.
England in and of itself, and there's more than you know. Not everybody,
Yeah.
in Scotland's not Braveheart, So
No. No. Far from it. Far from it. Um, some of the history stuff. I actually watched a film recently about them finding Richard III's body. The guy that literally they found him buried in a car park in Leicester. The film was really good, but I mean, that's only
oh
recent.
yeah. I was reading. I read about that too. That was crazy.
Yeah, and then there was literally about 3 or 4 weeks ago there was a documentary on BBC about him and about the two kids that I'm going to get the names wrong because
Because Richard led one of the crusades over there to
I think
the
that was
Holy
Richard
Lands.
first. Was
Okay,
that not
okay,
was he Richard first? Was Richard Lionheart, I think.
okay.
Um, and
Yeah. Richard Lionheart took and led.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm only reasonably sure about that because I recently watched Robin Hood again. So
yeah.
it wasn't from school, it was from Hollywood. But yeah, but a lot of stuff's brilliant. There's a fantastic Scottish historian called Neil Oliver. His stuff's brilliant. If you're gonna do stuff like that, I'm not sure what he has there that's what react able to react to, but certainly his podcast he talks about the Vikings and he talks about is it Lindisfarne, which was the first monastery that the Vikings raided and stuff. And he's so poetic. He's got that lovely Scottish lilt, and he the way he words everything is just listen to it. It's like listening to somebody describe history through poetry, and it just visualizes everything for you. It's just very good. And he does like 100 places to visit in the UK and Ireland, but he talks about them for their history and why you want to go there and all. He's brilliant. So um. Yeah, I love all that history stuff myself. That's why I want, because when I do say when if I ever make it across the pond again, I don't want to just go to Vegas this time. I want to go because Joey up there, he's got Serpent's Mount in Ohio, one of the big uh, uh, geoglyphs.
Yeah.
And the mouth of the snake's perfectly aligned to the true north and stuff, and I want to go and see all that sort of shit and Gettysburg and all the historical stuff. So yes, I want to get drunk and get fucked up as well. When I'm over there. But at the same time, I want to do shit during the day and then go out at night and then get drunk. So okay. So the last proper question then: what one thing from your childhood do you regret your children not having or doing?
Playing outside so much. Goddamn, I got locked out the fucking house, and I had to beat on the door at lunchtime to fix myself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or two to take outside with me. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, but I had to take a lot of doors to I had to take and beat on the door to go and make peanut butter jelly sandwich or two to take
Yep.
out with me and drink from the water hose.
Yep.
And you had to take and cut the water hose on a couple of times while you're outside, so that way the damn hose didn't take and stay so hot that you scalded yourself when you was trying to get a drink out of it every time. Because nowadays you take and do something like that, you've got to take and watch them either almost like a hawk or be out there with them. Because either someone might try to take a roll through and take one of them, or some Karen's going to call the cops because they're unattended out in the yard.
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, it's weird how drastically things have changed in such a short period of time. I mean, we were exactly the same. It was especially during the summer. It was maybe slightly different in the winter when it was pissing down. It's always raining in Ireland, but when it's proper pissing down. But in the summer, it was like, get out, go and play football. Just go out, come back at dinner time. Don't go too far. I'll shout when it's dinner time, and then after dinner, you were kicked out again. Just get out, go and play, and go home when it gets dark, or come back to the house when it gets dark. We're allowed to play out when we were too young after dark, but outside of that, it was, get out, just go and play football. Go and
We lived in I'm trying to remember. We lived in a trailer park not long after I say that, about a year and a half after we moved to South Carolina from Alabama. We lived in a trailer park, and bro, Saturdays, I'd be sitting outside. After a certain point, once Mama got big in a church, there was no watching the Saturday morning cartoons. But we got sent out. I got sent outside and played with neighborhood kids, and I'd be 4 or 5 houses down playing football in somebody's yard. Or once we took a move out to the sticks, I was always out in the woods.
Yeah.
That's one thing I wish they could take and do more of, but it's today's day and age is kind of hard.
But do you think it's more dangerous now, or do you think we just hear about it more and so worry more?
I had somebody follow my wife home from the store, and he was out there for a minute trying to take and never brought up wanting to take and buy the truck that my father-in-law had that she drives to and from work and two places every so often, and she was already feeling uneasy because the guy followed her the fuck home.
Right.
I come out, and I started walking out there to where they were at. He's like, "Oh yeah, I just want to take and ask about the truck." She thinks he's about to take, and it's not the first time we've had something like that happen.
Right, okay.
Where, like, we took and come out, we go out to the school. She does walking and stuff like that, and we had somebody take and drive a van. I was out there with the kids. I was sitting and reading a book. The kids were taking and playing on the like a volleyball court they've got out there, and the guy took and drove the van it's basically instead of going around a little loop to take and go out, he drove it through the grass. He had taken and drove slow, and I stood up and went to go walk towards the kids, and they took and drove to the grass and drove off. So no, it's
Yeah.
the thing is 7, 8, 10, 12 years ago, we wouldn't have to worry about that shit around here.
Yeah.
But now we've had so many people moving into the area, and I think people are just going fucking stupid, man.
Yeah, that's definitely true. It's hard to argue with that one. I mean, it's just one of the best. I think you can buy a T-shirt saying now that is it something along the lines of, I didn't realize the film Idiocracy was a documentary. You know.
Yeah, that is a whole. I love that fucking movie, and the problem is, it does feel like it's
Yeah.
becoming a documentary.
Yeah, we're rewarding stupid people for being stupid. We're instead of promoting smarter, brighter people. No, we have to because it looks good. Well, the person's not right for the job, but still they tick the right box, and that's not helpful for anybody anywhere. I
One of
absolutely
one of the biggest problems with society right now is the fact that we want motherfuckers to feel good about themselves, regardless of whether they've achieved something or not.
yeah
And it's like, bruh, that's not how that's not how fucking life works. Like that's not because once they take and go, great, you give them validation here by being like, oh yeah, you. There's gonna come a time further down the road, but they're not gonna get that fucking validation,
no
and they're still gonna be fucking lackluster as shit, or they're
yep
still gonna be dumb as fuck, or they're still gonna be whatever, and life is gonna slap them in the fucking face. It's not gonna feel good, but it's
no
gonna be your fault partially because you didn't take and tell them no. You need to take and work better. You need to take and do this. You need to do that. So that way, they don't have to take and they kind of understand a couple
yeah
of things. But
uh,
we're not doing that to folks no more.
yeah absolutely. I'm not talking about people being dicks to people, but at the same time, you can't just enable every fucking
No,
delusion somebody has, and you can't just not say that's stupid in case you hurt somebody's feelings. It's
no,
uh,
I completely agree with you.
yeah, it's just
There's
worrying.
multiple aspects of that too.
Yeah, there's a way. I mean, what we talked about it earlier. I mean, parents and teachers and all can't be complete dicks to kids, but at the same time, they can't just let little Johnny run about and do what he wants in the supermarket without any consequence. It's just
No,
I've said before, if I was messed about, and I said my dad was smacking legs me there and then in front of everybody. It wasn't wait till I get you home. It was, you got smacked
yeah,
across the back of the legs there and then. So after a while, you cottoned on. No, I don't want to get hit in front of everybody. You don't want to get hit, and you certainly don't want to be hit because you don't want to cry in front of everybody when you
yeah,
got
because
smacked
you
in
get
the leg.
embarrassed. It's
Yeah,
embarrassing to get hit in front. Yeah, because
and
then you got to hold back everything. So yeah.
yeah, and then you get home. I mean, you didn't used to get the just wait till your dad get home. That was different,
Oh
you
God.
know. But I've said it. I do remember the time my mom beat me with a high heel. There's a pointy bit of a high heel. Do you remember the old nonsense your parents used to tell you? Just tell us the truth and everything will be okay. That one.
Yeah,
And
that
I
was
literally,
bullshit.
she kept hitting me with the fucking high heel till I worked out what she wanted to hear. I told her the truth, but she didn't. That wasn't the right thing. And I had to keep changing the story till it stopped hitting me. And it had all these wee tiny bruises around my fucking arse and the back of my legs and all for about a week. It's like, what do you want me
Oh
to
yeah.
say? Tell me what you want to. And that's why you have some sympathy for people being tortured. Just what do you want me to say? I'll tell you. I'm only going to hit the issue. Never mind being waterboarded or anything. So,
Right.
uh, yeah. So, right. The plus one. Okay. What is the single best piece of advice you can share with the world?
Be kind to people, man. You don't know what other people are going through. Just be kind. Like even unless somebody's being a dick to you, like be kind to a point. Don't let somebody push you over and shit. But
Yeah.
don't if you're having a rough day, don't project that on somebody else because you don't know how your reaction to something or your harsh words or your just out of pocket thoughtlessness can affect someone. Same way as if it's gonna, if you know that stuff like that's gonna affect somebody negatively, just imagine what taking an I hope you're having a good day or
Yeah,
have a lovely afternoon or something like that, or trying to get somebody to smile, how much more of an impact that can have on whatever they're going through at that moment. So just be kind. That's the reason why I end every video with be kind, be good to each other and love yourselves. Because
yeah,
I think too many people we're not good to each other no more, and people
yeah,
don't love themselves anymore. I think people there's so much self hate that happens, and I think it takes and that's one of the reasons why we're not good to each other anymore.
yeah,
It's hard to take and be good to other people when you're not good to yourself. You don't like yourself. You don't love
yeah.
yourself. It's hard to take and show love towards others, even in small bits.
Yeah. I mean, what's the saying? If you run into an asshole in the morning, you've run into an asshole. But if you run into assholes all day, maybe you're the asshole.
Yeah, yeah.
That's okay. But I'm okay with being an asshole. I don't mind that. I'm used to myself. It's being well. Look, it's not bad. I mean, I I'm only hard on people that are pricks. You know what I mean? People that I
Yeah.
like and I love. I'll bend over backwards for, but I'm just so jaded now on the amount of arseholes out there that I just find it tough to, just instinctively. I'm going to repeat myself. But I've said this, sitting talking to some of the guys offline one night. I says, look, because especially it's a very American thing, much more than British, to be positive and optimistic and stuff like that. We're much more, it is
Oh
what
yeah,
it is.
yeah, yeah. You are much more realistic, and which
Yeah, and
I try not to take and be overly optimistic. You got to have a pragmatic view of things. You got to,
yeah,
but you can be pragmatic, but also wish somebody well to where
yeah.
they are going through something. You know what I'm saying? Or even if it's just that little bit of like, hey, hope you have a good day or good
Yeah,
afternoon or something like that. It's that
yeah. There's
'cause
probably some ground in the middle there, I think, between the two of us. But I said, talking to some people, you always get to know. You have to give them the benefit of the doubt. You have to do this, and so my take is, if you presume that every person you meet is going to be nice, you're going to be constantly let down because the vast
oh no,
majority of people
oh
aren't.
yeah, oh yeah. Most people are dickheads.
Yeah. So, but if you go into meeting people presuming that everybody's a cunt, right? Every now and again, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. So, is it not better to be pleasantly surprised now and again than constantly let down? Just the way
Yeah,
I
what
look at it. So,
oh no, no, you're 100% right on that. And I think most people are fucking 100% cunts.
yeah,
You know, what I'm
so
saying?
they're selfish, they're ignorant, they're rude, and I
They're
think
out
we're
for
getting
that. They're
more.
out for out for their fucking selves. I try to be that pleasant surprise.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Which is why, I mean, Joey and I'll tell you, that's why I'm always a wee ray of sunshine on YouTube. So, um, so, is there one thing you would want to ask me?
Um, what have you learned from us idiots here on YouTube that you've been hanging out with? That maybe before you're like,
I've learned that for every genuine person on YouTube, for every honest to God, genuine good person on YouTube, there's 100 assholes and 100 fake assholes. So for every Joey and JV and EB and Blake, I'm not going to name any of them. I'm not, because we'll be here all night. But there's just fake, false, two-faced pricks that just want to cause rows and then jump to another panel and go, "Did you see what Captain did? Did you see what EB did? Did you see what?" It's just,
oh
and
yeah, you're 100% right on that
yeah,
one.
that,
Me and Blake took and got into some fucking YouTube drama for a bit of fucking cunts like that.
yeah, and I think that's part of the way I look. I think I'm an acquired taste. You either like me, or you don't. I don't care. I want people I like to like me. I don't mean I don't care about any of it, but people you know, um, I'll call a spade, you know,
Yeah.
and some people think I'm harsh, but I'm just being honest, you know, and that's all it is. I just don't have time to waste on fools that are just two faced and just sitting when they're on a panel being, you know, pretending to be nice and oh, I love you, brother, and all this here. You don't love him, you've never met him, you've probably seen things on YouTube, you know, and and that word gets thrown out an awful lot, truth be told, you know,
Yeah.
the love word, you know, I love you, brother, and you know, I've got your back, sister, and all that, you know. But what are you going to do? You're going to drive to the house and help?
Oh, half the people that'll take and tell you on YouTube they've got your back don't have your fucking back. And
You know?
if anything, they've got your back so they can drive a knife in at the most opportune moment.
Yeah, you know, and so for that. But I mean, I like the way I look at it. For me personally, YouTube's been a net positive. Okay, I don't mean just watching, but joining. And for that, I have to say it was JV, it was Blake, and it was Thrice. Every Friday, 'cause I used to torture them in the chat, and I, because you know me, I put something ridiculously, you know, vulgar and rude in the chat, and then you'd see, because I still do it when Thrice is live, and you just said fucking captain, and he'd try not to laugh, but because of insulting somebody on panel, you know, and they coaxed me up. They it took them 6 months or 9 months to go. You know, why don't you try doing it? And because of that, I've met some great people: you, Squirrel, Joey, Auntie Sam, BC. You know, yeah, I'm not going to name everybody because there's a lot of people now that I respect and like a lot, and it's through YouTube. It's given me something to do. It's given me it's a bit of a hobby doing video editing, doing this. This is new. You've only been doing this is only the six or seven one of these, you know. And
Which this was a fantastic idea. Like this format you've got here, I absolutely love this.
yeah, I'm enjoying it. See, I mean, I'm not trying to be Joe Rogan or Mr. Beast. I'm doing it purely because it's fun. That's all it is. And if I get to the point where I stop enjoying it, I'll move on and do something else.
Yeah.
Because if I don't enjoy it, somebody else, you know, isn't going to enjoy it. You know, and that's the long and the short of it. But so we'll just do a couple of quick questions from the chat. Half of them are for Joey, and they're nearly all about tits. But we'll
Of
um,
course.
yeah. So any UK
I
plans?
want to take in my plan is as of right now, this is what I want to take and do. I know the cheese rolling is in late May. The Codswold Olympics are in early June. I want to make it to those two things.
Okay.
I want to take and go to go experience those two things, and then try to take and go from there to see some of Yorkshire. Take and go see you, maybe see a part of Scotland.
Yeah. So this
So
year coming, you think?
yeah, I'm open from it'd be like last week of May and like the first week or two of June. I'd be
Right.
there.
Okay. Good.
I'd wanted to go there this past October, but this, like I said, this has been such a shit year monetarily.
I know. It's yeah. It's a tough thing to do because no matter what you say, traveling isn't cheap. It just isn't. Especially if you're
Oh
going to go to
no.
multiple places because you're paying for multiple flights. You know all the rest of it. It's not like booking a package holiday for a fortnight in Spain. You know and yeah, it's
Yeah,
good,
it's
but
cheaper to fly from where you're at to like Spain or fucking Amsterdam or some shit like that than it is for me to take and fly from
but
here to fucking Canada.
yeah, the only thing is getting to the point because they are taxing the flights to death. They don't want the you and I flying, and that's where they're going to make it so expensive that we just can't do it. I used to fly to Amsterdam on a Thursday night and fly home on a Monday morning for about 50 quid. A return flight to the middle of Europe and back. It was it was so cheap. It was so okay, good one from Laz actually. Well, he's probably asleep at this point. So one thing you thought or heard about British people you wish was true but isn't.
That I heard that I wish was true but isn't. Um, that all British people have bad teeth, and that's just not the case. I've seen some of y'all fuckers over there with like better pearly whites than some of us.
No, but I have terrible teeth. But that was more because we were stupid. We didn't realize we could have got braces and all for free when I was kid. I had extra teeth. I had like 4 extra teeth, so it made these all crooked. And then because of that, I just didn't look after them properly. But yeah, but you're right. A lot of our teeth's good, but yeah,
That's probably the one thing that I've heard that because I've seen between YouTubers and some of the folks I've talked with, yeah, not everybody has shit teeth over there. Which, half the people over here seem to be meth heads or on fucking heroin and shit like that.
yeah,
Whatever oral care they might have had beforehand, that just went out the window. We probably got worse teeth than y'all do now.
yeah. No, fair play. I'm being mocked for my accent again. So
Let's see. Part of Captain.
yeah, Joey made me laugh. Joey sent me a message because I have a habit. I didn't even realize doing it. I answer a lot of messages. Absolutely. They would say, "Should I do this?" And I go, "Absolutely." And he sent me a message, laugh. He says, "Whenever I read that, I hear that in your accent, because I must say it too much, So, okay, just quickly, no, that's all right. Okay, so a sports one for you. I know who Larry Bird is, but I don't know much about him. So
Where do
where
I
do you
rank
rank
Larry
Larry Bird?
Bird? Ooh, he's. I'd say he's probably top 5 because I think he's underrated, man. Because you take a look at like the power forwards in the NBA today, like you look at like Kevin Durant and stuff like that. And Kevin Durant, he's got athleticism, so he should be able to take and do all the fucking shit he does. Larry Bird didn't have the athleticism, but that fucker would shit talk you and then take and follow through on what the fuck he shit talked you about. So I'm gonna say he's a solid number 5. Solid
Right.
number 5.
Well, I mean, the only thing I know about Larry Bird is he was famous for his trash talk, wasn't he?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He was he would take and tell them I've got to take and we're playing this team tomorrow, so I'm shooting only with my left hand, and he was right handed. He shot every shot and made all his shots with his left hand one game, and like the other team was just like they was demoralized after because they're like, what the fuck, you know?
Okay, that's pretty clever, though. In fairness,
Yeah.
Yeah, yours is so easy. I'm going to use my offhand, but then again, true sportsmen did that. I mean, George Best, one of the best footballers ever. He used to practice. He was, I think, he was right-footed or whatever it was. So a lot of footballers are just so one-footed. They can kick the ball brilliantly with one foot, but he practiced with the other foot, just the other foot. So when he was on the pitch, he could go either way, and he could do, so he deliberately worked on his weakness and just made it a strength in the end. So it's for somebody to be a true legend, I think you have to go above and beyond like that. So
Yeah.
which sounds like he did. So another one from Joey then. Bear Bryant or Nick Saban?
I wasn't alive for Bear Bryant. I heard about just the man, the myth, the legend of Bear Bryant, but Nick Saban in my lifetime. So for me, it had to be Nick Saban and the success he's had because, and I remember, let's see, after Bear Bryant died, let's see, he retired in 80, 81. Let's see, I was born in 82. The first national title for Alabama after I was born was in 92. And then I remember 93 was okay. And then we got into Albert Means scandal. And we got, not only did we have a bowl ban, but we had a television ban for a year. And the
Right.
scholarships were reduced by half. I remember having to take and go to the paper to find scores for the Alabama game. And
Right.
then I remember the coaches, Dennis Franchione and Mike Price, was all of like a fucking hour. And then Mike Dubose, and then Mike Shula, and finally Nick Saban. And what he's been able to take and do, like we're spoiled. Like we were spoiled. Like last 2 seasons, I've missed half the Alabama games on TV just because I'm asleep by halftime.
Right. Okay.
So
Why sleep? Was that bad or just that easy?
it half the time it's a blowout by the time it's like 30-0 or 26-6 by the time halftime rolls around. So I've done passed out middle of the second half and wake up middle of second quarter, wake up in the middle of the third quarter. So and this past year I knew 2 games in, I was like, oh, we're gonna struggle. I was like, I'd be
Right.
surprised if we don't lose 4 games this year.
Right.
Oh, the quarterback play looked like shit. And luckily he got better throughout the year and so did the defense. But I didn't watch a lot of the games this year because half of them we struggled when we shouldn't. I was like,
Right.
man, and you usually get, but that's how spoiled I am as a fan. That's like, man, fuck, they should be. They got all these 4 and 5 star talents that shouldn't be struggling like this against
Yeah.
these fucking teams. You turn it off halfway through and go do something else. Whereas used to, I'd watch all fucking game and bitch at the fucking TV. I think part of it now too is like if I'm not being entertained, I'm not going to take it. It's not getting my time.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be struggling. Liverpool have been brilliant the last sort of 5 6 years, but last year they were woeful. It just was hard to watch. But even this year they're like 1 point off the top of the table. But some of the games recently they've just been terrible. And I'm sitting going, do you bastards not realize I've worked all week? I'm watching this for entertainment. You can't hit a ball 5 yards. Fucking £350,000 a week. You useless. And it just
Yeah,
pisses me off no end. And then listen to them whinge about, and we're playing too much football. Fuck off. Try and work on a building site 5 days a week in the rain. That's hard work. Not get in for personal massages because you've run about a field. You know. Just
oh yeah.
really bust my boy to that one. So right, one from BC. Then only a couple more, and then we'll get you away. So, what did EB think is the
Okay.
most dangerous job to have on the planet?
Ooh, I don't know. There's a lot of them. I think number one, being in any military service, I think, but especially in a foreign zone, at least not foreign zone, but in a dangerous area in a war zone.
Yeah,
Number one, but number two, taking it being like an underwater welder because there's so many factors that could go wrong that could, you know, just yeah. There's that. That's not a question. That's not a thing I normally think about. So,
yeah,
now I'm sitting there trying to think of some jobs that are dangerous. Steel workers
yeah.
taking and doing steel work. That's dangerous. We had somebody. We had a lucky the kid survived, but it took and knocked out every tooth in his fucking mouth. I think broke his jaw, but it was had a steel beam that wasn't rigged properly, and luckily it wasn't a big steel beam, but it took and swung and hit the boy in the face on a job that I was on. Um, so that's another one doing steel work, like having to take and climb up and stuff like that, and hang those steel pieces like that. That's bigger cojones than I've got. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. I think that the steel workers that used to just walk along the top of the girders. No safety.
Yeah.
That Jesus. That I
Another dangerous job is working in a steel plant, especially ones that do the molten, like taking
yeah.
in. That's some dangerous shit right there because that splashes up on you or something like that. That's a wrap. That's gonna burn through whatever you got on.
doesn't bear thinking about. So one last question. I'll ask one of Miss Piggy's in. So, what's your favorite dessert?
Ooh, cheesecake, hands
Okay.
down. I love me some good cheesecake, man. Um, a good
Yeah, it's hard
pecan
to argue
pie
with
is
that.
really good, but you take and you put cheesecake in front of me, without fail, I'm eating it. So
Yeah, cheesecakes. Hello. Somebody said to me your cheesecakes are different than ours. And I think they're wrong, but you have a biscuit base and all that sort of thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's proper cheesecake, you know. So, um, banoffee used to be mine for a while, but I've come to realize now it's too sweet, it's too sickly, you know. So it just means, you know, after and it is just diabetes in a bowl. It's just pure sugar. So not the cheesecakes, you know, but yeah, cheesecake. But what flavor cheesecake? That's deep dive into cheesecake. What flavor?
Ooh, see, I love like the turtle cheesecakes. They have like the chocolate and the caramel or caramel, however y'all want to
Yeah,
take and say it. That on it, or even just a classic. I say classic. I don't like cherries. I love the strawberries though.
right.
You give me
Yeah.
some strawberry cheesecake. Oh my god! Like that's
Yeah. See, we see. I'm not sure now because see, I'm sort of spoiled. My brother's a chef, so when sometimes when he's bored, he just makes something, you know. And I used to love banoffee, but it's just too sweet now. He made a banoffee cheesecake, which was nice. Um, it was lovely actually. You know, it's too late now to get the stuff in for Christmas anyway. Or the other one, have you tried mint arrows and all the stuff you've been sent? Do you ever try a mint arrow bar?
the mint arrow bar.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, hell yeah, that's fucking awesome.
yeah.
Eh,
Well, he made a mint arrow cheesecake one day, and it was stunning. I love mint chocolate, you know, and
Yeah, yeah.
the mint arrow cheesecake
That's
was
not, and it's funny because mint and chocolate is not just off the top of your head thinking, but mint and chocolate doesn't sound like something that go together, but when done right, it's
yes,
so fucking good.
absolutely, absolutely. We're making Joey hungry. Well, that and the fact he's stoned probably, so now he's craving something sweet, you know. So, but it's yeah. So right, so that's us. So Alan, thank you very much for doing this. I've
Oh no,
really
thanks
enjoyed
for having me. I
it.
enjoyed this.
It's been a blast. If you anything you want to shout out, if you anything coming up you want to say to anybody, or do you want to just tell
Um,
Joey to fuck off? I mean, that's just what everybody else
but
knows.
Joey knows. Joey always knows he can fuck off, but in the most loving way, of course. But
Yeah,
coming up, be honest with you, one of my plans this coming year for the channel is to actually travel more, whether it be here in within the U.S. To like I want to go see Daniel up there in Baltimore, and I want to go see Joey up there in Ohio. I want to go meet
yeah,
Blake. My brother's out in Colorado,
yeah,
but I want to start doing stuff to tell stories on the channel instead of taking and just reacting to stuff.
yeah,
And that's one of the things. Also, like the gaming type stuff, I want to start taking and doing like having themed stuff that almost like tells a story
yeah,
throughout the fucking video. So,
yeah.
but dude, this was fun. I appreciate the hell out of this.
Oh no,
And I enjoyed the shit out of this too because it's some of these I had to think for a second. And we had to keep it a couple of times. Like, oh shit, we went off the rails a little bit. Because if I'm allowed to take and talk, goddamn, I can fucking talk.
well, see, that's the way I look at it. I say to people, I'm not looking at gotcha. I'm not trying to get somebody up so as I can ask them a hard question, so say something stupid, so as I can clip it and put it out. I just want to, and it's not, like say, it's not really an interview because I'm not sitting going, what results did you get at college, and
Yeah, yeah.
what was your biggest sexual exploit in the fucking service and stuff. The questions is just to give us something to talk about, and some of them are stupid. I mean, but I was trying to clip some of them, I asked Joey how high he could jump for fuck's sake in the first show, you know.
Which
So
I will say, I'm probably gonna download this. Just
yeah.
letting you know, because I'll probably repost this on my channel at
Oh,
some point.
fair play. Because I'll probably clip some because I've been putting
And
short out just for my crack.
I'm gonna link this back to your channel, like I've done with the community posts and stuff like that.
Oh no, for fair play. And then the other thing I'm going to do because Squirrel asked me and I have already planned it. So some of the questions that I've asked everybody, I'm gonna, for argument's sake, does God exist? I'm gonna put it over Christmas when I'm off work. I finished work today, so I'm off for a bit. I'm gonna create just one where I've asked everybody about the aliens. So I'll do I'll have your answer and I'll have Squirrels and Joey's, and I'll put out an aliens video, and then the God one I'll do the same. So I will use this. I don't know where I don't know who'll watch it when it's not live, but I'm gonna do it just because it's gonna be fun doing it, doing the editing and stuff. So.
Oh yeah.
And working time. So thank you, a lot for doing this. Thanks to everybody in the chat. I'm not gonna name everybody, you know who you are, because you can read your own names. So thank you very much, and we'll see next week. Is Angie, and it's Angie's birthday, and Angie wants, so same time next week for Angie, so and she promises she'll wear something low cut, so it'll be fantastic with Angie up. So thanks very much, everybody.
Wait. She gonna wear something low cut. So I'm gonna take and watch this like fucking Ray Charles.
That's it. Hello, Angie's so talented in that department, it's hard to get away from them, so I gotta get a slap at some point over that one, so thank you, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Okay, night.